lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig live in the 97.3 ESPN studios, along with Alex Berardis here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. And see how we are live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Well, we got a lot to get to today because it's more than just the Philadelphia Eagles ending their season. It's more than just the Phillies losing out on Bo Bichette. Alex, there is so much to get into today. We're going to find out which microphone you are. Is it that microphone?
Testing.
Is that microphone?
So. All right. We hit it.
We hit the button. Something worked. It's amazing sometimes.
There's always something new here.
Something new here. Oh, my goodness. Listen, we got to get into. I want to put it out to everybody out there, everybody off top of the show. You know, we're going to get into basically three things today. The three things are this. Eagles season's over, now what? Okay? I'm not going to sit here and mourn what happened 6 days ago. We're going to look ahead at what needs to happen next, number one. Number two, we are going to rip the Philadelphia Phillies for giving JT Realmuto a 3-year, $45 million contract as a consolation prize because they got left at the wedding altar by Bo Bichette. We are also going to preview all of the NFL playoff games. And Alex, you will be happy or not happy to know. I don't know if you did anything with my picks last week, but I got all but one pick wrong with the NFL playoff games last weekend.
I'm trying to remember if we were on board with a lot of them or not. I know there was one that we disagreed with. I believe it was the Bills game.
We disagreed on the Bills game. I think you had the Jags winning, didn't you?
No, I had the Bills winning.
Oh, I had the Bills winning too.
All right, so then it wasn't. All right, so I got no idea what I'm talking about. But I think that's just with everything that's been going on, just so much heartbreak. I feel like the Stephen A. Smith meme where he's like, I'm having a very bad day. That's been like this past week. Like it really does feel like the Orion Kerkering Eagles lost night all over again. But this has just been stretched out over a week as opposed to just one night.
Exactly. So we got a lot to get to here on the show, here on 97.3 ESPN. As always, text board is open at 609-403-0973. It's the usual suspects, Alex Berardis, reliable, always joining me in the 97.3 studio. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. He'll join us coming up at 2:25 p.m. to get a full scope of what is going on with this. We have 8 technically 9, but it's 8 head coach openings, about 5 offense coordinator openings still open. So we're going to get into that with Rob Maaddi. Andy McNamara will join us to preview the whole scope of the NFL playoff weekend. Of course, don't forget the NFL playoffs coming up today on 97.3 ESPN, following Mike Gill's Power Hour live from Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. Mike Gill will be on from 3 to 4 p.m. with Nick Earnshaw, and then we'll get to the NFL playoffs here on 97.3 ESPN. But I want to know from you guys, what is bothering everybody more today? Is it the Eagles' disappointing end of the season and now the latest drama? Or is it Bo Bichette, JT Realmuto fiasco? But we're going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles, Alex, because this entire week feels like it's been turned on its head. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like this entire week went from Eagles lose to, oh, wait, there's more. if it wasn't bad enough that you had to fire the offense coordinator, which thank God they did, then you have the general manager and the head coach basically trying to paint a good face on everything, right? Because they got a tough offseason coming up, Alex. They got a tough set of decisions they got to figure out. But if all of the things I just mentioned wasn't enough, here comes A.J. Brown news. The A.J. Brown drama is back, baby. And the man who reported it is actually one of the more interesting people. So I want to give everybody a little context for this story, okay? Because there was a lot of rumor and speculation all season long about could the Eagles trade A.J. Brown? Does he want to be here anymore? And you remember, Alex, every day A.J. Brown got to the media, it's like, I love it here. I'm happy to be here. You saw him on Hard Knocks walking around buying people's Christmas and Thanksgiving food. You know, like, I don't think at his core A.J.'s a bad human being. And I do believe Jalen Hurts when he says that him and A.J. are in a good place. But this latest report by John Salaquinto, for those who don't know, Salaquinto was the guy who got ripped years ago for the Carson Wentz report. And it ended up that everything he reported in that article ended up being true. And so you have a situation where you have an individual who has a track record of getting things right. So this is not just simply a random blogger, right? This isn't like some guy you've never heard of.
He's credible.
He's credible. And for those who didn't see the full story, we're not going to read line for line right here, but we're basically going to summarize that. Basically, A.J. Brown, after the Eagles win over the Rams in Week 3, was the first time he asked for a trade. Well, what's problematic with that is that means that A.J. Brown then has basically been a disgruntled member of a team all year. And if you're disgruntled for the entire year, you know what that means? That means that there's a strong possibility that you were part of the problem with this offense. That A.J. Brown and his disinterested being here, we'll call it, okay? That maybe he was not a part of the solution. He was a part of the problem. And if that's the case, if A.J. Brown was part of the problem, then it kind of makes you wonder, would there have been any scenario that this team could have made an adjustment this year and things got better? That's the first question I have. The second question I have before we get to what the big-name NFL insiders had to say last night on NFL Network. The question I have is, Howie Roseman was very specific when he was asked about A.J. Brown the other day, about not trading him. Let us remind everybody what Roseman had to say.
It is hard to find great players in the NFL, and A.J. is a great player. I think from my perspective, that's what we're going out and looking for when we go out here in free agency in the draft, is trying to find great players who love football, and he's that guy. So I think that would be my answer.
Now, I will remind you, Howie Roseman said something very similar in 2021 about Carson Wentz. 2 months later, they traded Wentz. They ate the dead cap money. I don't think the money's going to be the issue here, Alex. I think the issue is going to be, would the Philadelphia Eagles get what they want for A.J. Brown? And as Mike Garafolo on NFL Network said last night, he doesn't think Howie Roseman is that serious about not trading A.J. Brown.
It's the same answer from the trade deadline when they didn't trade him. So you go, well, if it's the same answer, they're probably not going to trade him. It didn't seem like he said it with his chest on this one. And obviously, I hung around this team all year long. I saw the dynamic between the quarterback and the wide receiver. I just don't feel that those two can coexist anymore. I don't know how the Eagles are going to do that. Now, there's a financial aspect of this, Ian, where people are saying, well, they can't trade him because of the contract they get. These things, if you're willing to take on a giant cap hit, you can trade him, and you will save money doing that, and you will get some stuff in return. So I don't look at it and say, oh, it's an impossible thing to trade. They could theoretically trade it, and they're going to get some phone calls on him this offseason.
And I think that's where the offseason is going to circle around. Obviously, they're going to hire next offense coordinator first. But I think the offense coordinator is going to be asked, Alex, what do you think about A.J. Brown? Can you get through to A.J. Brown? Are you okay with coming to the Eagles if we trade A.J. Brown? I'm at the position, I don't know where everybody else is. People text in at 609-403-0973. There's a lot of issues to be dealt with this offseason, Alex. But for me, I think moving on from A.J. Brown, to just get rid of the drama, get a clean slate for this team, I think that's got to be one of the top 3 priorities this offseason.
Well, I'm in the camp that I actually do think the money's going to play a big factor, because if he's traded before June 1st, it's like a $40 million dead cap hit, correct? Around that number.
I'll pull it up the exact number.
But it's around.
I think you're correct in that number.
It's like double what his salary currently is. Now, the difference when we did it with Carson Wentz and we took in all that money was we weren't really primed and ready to go for a championship around that time. Like, we still had Jalen Hurts developing. There was a lot of young pieces. We were still working towards that. That's a different story now.
Here's the exact number. So if they trade him before June 1st, it counts as a $72 million cap hit.
All right, so even more.
I will say but. If A.J. Brown is willing to restructure his deal, it would be a 0 dead money cap hit, but the Eagles would also have no cap savings from it. So there would be no negative, but there would be no,
You're not clearing anything off.
Right, you're just not being penalized, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but now they're primed and ready to go. Like, they were, in my opinion, a coordinator away from at least getting to a Super Bowl this year. I'm not going to say they would have run it back, but I'm going to say they would have at least gotten through the NFC and made the Super Bowl. But now you got these young guns. They got to get paid. You got Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. These are guys that are coming up. You're going to need money for it. Especially even this offseason, there's still guys. Jalen Phillips, we don't know what we're going to do with him. Nakobe Dean, probably going to walk, but there's a chance if we want to talk it out with him. I just think that if they are going to move him, which I could definitely see happening, it's going to have to be after the June 1st thing. And that's going to put us in a tougher spot because you're probably not going to get as much value then as you would have now because you could get draft picks, a first-round pick possibly if a team's willing to give that up. June 1st is like training camp time. You're getting ready for camp. Not a lot of moves are made. You're not going to get the same in return as you would now, or not now when the offseason starts.
I don't think for 1 minute, Alex, that the money's going to be an issue because Howie Roseman has shown that he's a wizard. You ever see that GIF online where it's like, you're a wizard, Howie. And he goes, I'm a what? But he is. This is his best skill set, is working the salary cap. That part I'm not worried about. But I do agree with you. The offseason moves are going to say a lot about what this team looks like next year. I wrote an article on 973ESPN.com this week, my top 5 most important free agents. And Nakobe Dean, as you mentioned, is on that list. But so is Dallas Goedert. And I think the Eagles are going to have a huge conundrum when it comes to who are they going to keep, who are they not going to keep. And as for my money, I know they cannot keep Dallas Goedert and Nakobe Dean and other players like Jalen Phillips there's going to be someone who's not here next year, right? And if I had to prioritize somebody, I would like to bring Nakobe Dean back, but I don't know, is there going to be a team that overpays for him on the market? I personally think Dallas Goedert is gone, by the way. I think that team is going to see the 11 touchdowns that he had this year, and teams are going to overpay for a guy who has an injury history just because the tight end position is such a dearth in the NFL. So I think if you're the Eagles, you got to prepare for a scenario where you got to draft the guy this year. Maybe like a guy like Stauer from Vanderbilt. He's a guy who might be around at 23, which is where you're picking in this draft. And Nakobe Dean is I think Nakobe Dean is 50-50. I think Nakobe Dean is 50-50. I think Goddard is 90% gone.
Yeah, for me, it's the injury history, the age. He's 31 now. Like, he's getting up there. See, I'm surprised actually how he didn't think about this prior to, because when we had Zach Ertz, we drafted Goddard while we had Ertz.
Well, it's funny you mention that because it's more than that. The Eagles have a 20-plus year history of doing this. You mentioned they had Ertz. They drafted Goddard. They drafted Ertz when they had Brent Selleck. They drafted Brent Selleck when they had L.J. Smith. So there's a long history of the Philadelphia Eagles saying, we are going to draft our guy. Now, I will preface it by saying this. I think in their minds, they thought that Calcaterra was going to be that guy.
Has not turned out to be.
He has not, exactly. So you have a long history, and I got to look up the guy who was before L.J. Smith. But they have a long history of drafting, doing a good job of finding a tight end, zeroing in on him and getting him. So if from L.J. Smith to Brent Selleck to Zach Ertz to Dallas Goedert, if you got 4 straight hits and then
yeah, eventually it's going to go the other way.
Eventually you're going to not miss one. And if Calcaterra is the one you don't miss, that's where the other question comes in. People can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Hanging with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Would you rather draft the guy and get a guy on a rookie contract? Or do you say, who cares about the money? We're going to go get Kyle Pitts.
Pitts was the guy I've been waiting for, but then he kind of like lit it up towards the end of the year, which is going to drive up his price. And hey, if there's a guy in the second round that we find that's pretty solid, let's just go with that. We got more. To me, locking up these young guys on the defensive side is more important than finding a great tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Because, all right, let's say we do keep A.J. Brown. Then we still have Saquon, A.J., Smitty. Like, that's still a great core to have. I would rather beef up the O-line, get depth at the O-line, Lane Johnson's replacement possibly.
Chad Lewis, by the way, was the tight end before L.J. Smith. I knew there was a guy before him.
Yeah, that's like before me, probably. So...
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's what's interesting about this is that it's been such a long track record, and now here we are, and we're in this predicament. I actually think the biggest question that no one's brought up is what's going to happen to the Exciting Mike's podcast? Because Reed Blankenship's one of those other guys, too.
He was on my top 5 list.
Now, he didn't have a great year this year. He was solid, but didn't have a great end to the year. But I could see Reed actually being a guy who takes a hometown discount.
I agree.
And kind of just stays a bird for life and just he's a constant guy in the secondary that is reliable but's not going to be the all-pro type safety, which I'm fine with because the rest of the defense is amazing.
Yeah, I think Reed is going to get brought back, not just because of the Exciting Mike's pod. But
you don't think that's the main reason they're going to bring him back?
I think that people don't realize that Reed Blankenship is the play caller on the back end of the defense. He's the guy who relays the play call from the main play caller, who's the linebacker, to the rest of the secondary. And I think that guy has a very important role in Vic Fangio's defense. That's why I think they'll keep Blankenship. I think that Reed will realize that if he goes somewhere else, like just look at Marcus Epps. Marcus Epps is the perfect guy for him to talk to. Marcus Epps left after the 2022 season for what he thought was greener pastures, money-wise, right? And he ended up going to a trash franchise called the Raiders for 2 years. And it completely derailed his career. Completely. He went from being a guy who started in the Super Bowl to being basically on the worst team possible defensively. So, and then he had to come crawling back to the Eagles. So I think Reed Blankenship could look at just Marcus Epps 2 years ago and be like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who signs like the Titans or something. And maybe get a big payday when I can get a solid payday from Philadelphia. I do agree with you. So then would you rather than, here's the rub though. Would you rather draft a tight end or a wide receiver, or do you feel like there's a way to get both? Oh, well, that microphone had a moment there. Try now.
All right, I was going to say, whoa, that was not right. What do you mean by drafting a tight end and a wide receiver?
Well, because my thing is, I think they're going to move on from A.J. Brown. So if you're moving on from A.J. Brown, you got to get a replacement, and you'll probably get it through the draft. So is it something where, like, the Eagles typically prioritize the trenches, right? Or, like, specific, like, best player available. They don't always draft the quote-unquote position of need. So the likelihood is when you have 1 first-round pick, 1 second-round pick, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, and 2 fifths, you're not going to be able to get the A-plus prospects at every position, right? So are you at a situation where you're looking around and saying, do I prioritize what in the first and second round? Because unless you're trading a bunch of picks around, which
Howie's capable of. Howie is
capable of.
Completely capable of.
I just don't know if the Eagles are going to be like, yeah, we're not going to draft an offensive lineman to get a tight end and a receiver in the first 2 rounds.
The only thing about this draft is it's not one of the stronger drafts that we've seen, but at the wide receiver position, it is a pretty deep class.
I mean, there's a guy that I am zeroing in on.
Jordan Tyson or Mekhi Lemon?
I think this guy is the perfect replacement for A.J. Brown. Although, by the way, the guys you mentioned are pretty good. Tyson, the guy from, was it Arizona or Arizona State?
Arizona State.
Yeah, his brother plays for the Cavs, right?
He gave us 39 last night. Yeah.
So maybe you do want him.
Yeah.
No, the receiver that I would love them to get is Denzel Boston.
Yeah.
From Washington.
Yep.
Do you know who his father is?
Can't say I do.
David Boston, who played in the NFL for over a decade, went to Ohio State. His dad was a stud.
So there's pedigree there.
There's pedigree there. And I'm a big believer in pedigree, okay? That's why the only good thing the Phillies have done in this year was signed Edgar Renteria's son this week, all right? Like, the only good thing the Phillies have done. I'm a big believer in if your dad is a really good player, not like the Michael Jordan type of player, but like your dad's a really good player.
Jeremiah Trotter.
Right. And then you look like a pretty good player, I'm more likely to want to draft you than somebody who might just be in it for the money, right? And so Denzel Boston, I mean, 6'4", he's got the catch radius, he's got the footwork, he can moss people, right? Can you imagine a receiver team that's got him across from Devontae Smith?
I can. We had him. A.J. Brown.
Well, this guy's bigger than A.J. Brown, though.
I like that.
Like, can you imagine doing what A.J. Brown did, but bigger? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's actually what he would be. The other thing is, so for those who don't know, the top tight ends in the draft, because you mentioned the wide receivers, it's Kenyon Sadiq.
Which I think is going to get drafted way too high for where we can even move
exactly.
up to.
He's the kid from Oregon. Then you got Max Clare. I think that's more of a beauty in the eye of a beholder situation. I like Eli Stowers. I think Eli Stowers is a guy who comes from a program that asks you to block at Vanderbilt. He can block. He can catch. He's a phenomenal athlete. He was Diego Pavia's #1 target at Vanderbilt last year. So I think Stowers, he kind of feels more like a Goddard type than the other two, if that makes sense.
So you'd like to just stick with what you're more comfortable and used to with a guy like Goddard.
Well, also the fact that I think that we overlooked that Goddard's greatest value was not his receiving. It was his ability to not just catch touchdowns, be a red zone target, but blocking. He became a very, very good blocker in the run game. And you saw in the games that he has missed the last few years how missing him in the run game has been a huge detriment. So I kind of want to find a guy who could be like a plug and play in the blocking department. And I feel like we have enough coaching in this organization to be like, hey, whatever might be like an element to your receiving game, we can figure out the rest, if you know what I mean.
The guys, I'm just now looking at the free agent tight ends that are on the market. The guy that's interesting to me for some reason is a Taysom Hill. look, if you get a good offensive coordinator, who knows what he can do with Taysom Hill.
Well, maybe that's part of the next.
And then you draft a guy too, so where he can develop a little bit under Hill, give him a year to get older, more seasoned in the league.
Right.
And then you got a guy like Taysom Hill who can throw the ball. He can do everything. I don't know, just something to think about.
No, it's definitely worth putting in the conversation. I see Jeff from Ocean City. I see Glenn from Absecon. I see Angie in Tuckerton. We'll get to all your texts coming up on the other side. 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig along with Alex Berardis live at the 97.3 ESPN studios. Streaming live on YouTube and X, the Dr. Squatch Virtual Studios at Josh Hennig, and on X as well at 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, we will be getting more into the NFL throughout the show. Text in what your thoughts are on the Eagles. Offensive coordinator, do you keep A.J. Brown? Do you re-sign Dallas Goedert? What are your priorities this offseason? Let us know. 609-403-0970. You also can join the conversation on the YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Don't forget, Andy McNamara joins us coming up at 1:25 for the Sporting News. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press at 2:25. All that and more still to come on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen to the NFL Divisional Round.
The exciting action of the NFL postseason is on Westwood One. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join us this weekend for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The hour-long pregame show kicks off Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. From now until Super Bowl 60, the NFL playoffs are on Westwood One.
Listen to the NFL Divisional Round on 97.3 ESPN.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
Caesars Sportsbook app is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action, earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open with new users in New Jersey who are 21 or older. Minimum odds is -500. Award is non-withdrawable bonus bet expired 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promo for full terms. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Any trade goes now at RK Kia of Vineland. Still owe thousands on your trade? It doesn't matter. RK Kia wants any trade, regardless of year, make, model, or condition. Drive home a new Kia for $199 a month. $199. Lease new 26 Kia K4 LXs from just $199 a month. $199 for 24 months. New front-wheel drive 26 Kia Sorento S, just $388 a month. $388. Plus, you get RK coverage. No charge. Ding repair, tire repair, wheel repair, windshield repair, and more. No charge. Any trade goes. RK Kia of Vineland. RK does it right. RK Kia of Vineland. MyRKKia.com. MyRKKia.com.
To qualified buyers, plus tax and title. For details, call 856-641-1111 or myrkkia.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You blitz all night.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. Hanging with Hennig is being brought to you by my friends over at Boxing Insider Promotions, who just dropped their latest information about their next upcoming fight card at Tropicana in Atlantic City. We've been telling you for the last 2 weeks that they are back in Atlantic City for their 7th event on Saturday, March 7th. But now we have some of the names who will be on the fight card, including the undefeated 16-0 NABF Super Lightweight Champion Justin Figueroa will be among the fighters in action. Joining him on the fight card will be an all-New Jersey matchup between John Leonardo and Edgar Cortez, as well as the return of undefeated and up-and-coming South Jersey fighter Leah Lewandowski and Holy Spirit High School graduate undefeated heavyweight Josh Popper, all among some of the great fighters who will be on the fight card. Again, Saturday, March 7th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. You do not want to miss out on the first action-packed fight night of 2026. Saturday, March 7th, inside Tropicana, Atlantic City. Do not want to miss it. Josh Hennig back here along with Alex Berardis on 97.3 ESPN. All right, as promised, I want to get some of these text messages on the text board. Alex, 609-403-0973. We asked before the break about what would you do? What are you guys thinking about this offseason? All right, shout out to the person who leave their name, but they also did mention they got the Chad Lewis reference as well. So I appreciate whoever you are. You didn't leave your name, but thank you, Mr. Anonymous. We'll call him Mr. Anonymous here. Jeff from Motion City chimes in that the next step for the Eagles is to hire a competent offense coordinator, draft more old linemen for next year. By the way, great show last week at Slack Tie Brewing. Cool places from Jeff in Ocean City. Yeah, Jeff, I do thank you for coming out. Jeff came out. JW from Ocean City came out. I saw Matt down further in Cape May County out there. Always a great time hanging out with Jason and Tag and everybody over there at Slack Tie Brewing. Great day for the 10-year anniversary celebration. Willie and the Taste of Love food truck. It was great seeing him. By the way, Alex, he picked the 49ers to win that game.
Smart man, smarter than all of us.
So I will give Willie a shout out in the food truck because he picked the 49ers when most people picked the Eagles. So it's a good job by Willie over at Taste of Love food truck. Also, it was great to see. I saw Andy from EHT. He came down to Slack Tie Brewing. So great to see all the listeners who came out to Slack Tie Brewing last week. But I think Jeff from Ocean City kind of hits the nail on the head here, which is he has 2 of my 5 here, Alex. Offense coordinator obviously is the number one priority. I totally agree. It's got to be a competent coordinator. I don't want to see some, inexperienced, marginal coordinator. I want to see the Eagles hire a dude who is legit. And the other point is, I'm with Jeff on the offensive line. And I know I'm getting a lot of flack for this, but I think Jeff Stoutland had a bad year last year. Jeff Stoutland did a bad job at evaluating. I don't think the Eagles had Brett Toth and Matt Pryor on the roster because Howie Roseman is a nice guy. I think the offensive line coach, also the run game coordinator, Jeff Stoutland, said, we should keep these guys. These guys are our best option. And he failed. He had a letdown. So now the Eagles got to go into the offseason, got to go into the draft, and get some real studs. And not just a guy who's going to eventually replace Lane Johnson. I would draft a guy who can play right guard. Because I think that Tyler Steen is serviceable, but I don't know if he's the right man for this job. They need to get a real stud offensive lineman who has some versatility, and then let Steen be a backup. Because now, if you don't rebuild the O-line depth, Alex, you're going to end up in the same situation you did this year with guys like Fred Johnson and Brett Toth and Matt Pryor and Drew Kendall coming into games, because we cannot depend on Dickerson, Juergens, and Johnson to be healthy anymore.
Yeah, as much as I've criticized and put a lot of the blame on Kevin Patullo and the play calling, which I still think that was the main problem here, but the offensive line, I think, is right there with the OC when it comes to who deserves the most blame here. You could draw up bad run plays. I saw Eagles ran 7 plays under center against the 49ers. All 7 of them were runs. So the defense is, they see Jalen's under center. Oh, I wonder what this could be. It's a run. But I think I even said it to Nick when we were at the game. We got to get second-level blocking. That's what was so great for us the year before and the years prior. It's felt like all this year, our offensive line couldn't get past the line of scrimmage. They'd get to the point of the attack, and then they couldn't outman the other team's D-line and push them back. It just felt like every time there was contact, it was right at the line of scrimmage, and there was no pull blocks. I mean, now that's scheme, that's one thing, but there had to be some sort of second-level blocking and getting guys past the line of scrimmage so you can give a guy like Saquon Barkley room to run.
I'm glad you mentioned the second-level blocking, because that was kind of like the key to the Eagles' offensive line for a decade, right? It's the reason why DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders all had 1,000-yard rushing seasons. It's the why, the 2017 team was able to rotate in 3 different running backs. You remember that? They had Garrett Blount, Jay Ajayi, and Corey Clement. Because the offensive line, as you just mentioned, got to the second level. Your Jason Kelsey's. Before the guys now, you had guys like Brandon Brooks.
Not Brett Toth.
No, not Brett. I was going to say somebody else. No, Brandon Brooks. Remember him? He was the right guard for years. You had Jason Peters, who then went to Jordan Mailata. All those guys. Even Isaac Seumalo. All these guys, they got to the second level of the offense. So if you are a team that consistently got to the second level of the defense with your offensive line, you're right, 100%. I'm glad you brought that up. They got to get some new dudes. They got to get some new road graders. And whether it's a guy like Proctor from Alabama or somebody else, I think that you got to go in the draft and the offseason and say, how can we reestablish this O-line? Because in the past, what did the Eagles do in past years? They brought in free agency guys, for example, like Stefan Wisniewski years ago. They brought in the draft, your not just Seumalo, but your Halapuli Vati Vaitai, these guys who can kind of step in if you need them to. And I think this year proved that it just was not good enough.
Well, I think to bring it back to the tight end conversation.
Bring it back.
Well, an analogy. Like you said with Grant Calcaterra, he might be the one guy that they missed on when it came to that pre-drafting your tight end before your main one's out the door. I think that could have been the situation in this past draft, because a guy like Drew Kendall, now maybe it's a bit, we're putting too much pressure on him to be able to step up.
Right.
Because he was a Boston College kid, late round draft pick. It's tough to put expectations on that kid to step in and be like, hey, we need you. You block our Super Bowl MVP. But this might have been the first year that, hey, some of those draft picks just didn't hit on the offensive line, because I was always so down for Howie Roseman to just find those gems late at the offensive line position late in the draft. Get the pretty pick early, get the guys you need early, but I always had faith in Stoutland and Howie to find those guys and, work on those guys later in the rounds to make them be great. But I guess you might have been right on this one, that Stoutland just didn't have a good year this year in more aspects than maybe just the main one.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to be like, Stoutland stinks, Listen, everyone can have a bad season, right? Everyone has a down day at work. It happens. My concern is, how do you have the conversation with Stoutland to have, how do you have that conversation? You know what I mean? How do you have the conversation with a guy with that much pedigree, with that much experience, to be like, hey, man, maybe we need to reevaluate some things. And hopefully it doesn't mean you get rid of him. I'm not trying to say get rid of the guy. But, I'm just looking at it like that. So, more text coming in. Glenn from Absecon says, you can't believe anything these professional sports executives say when it comes to building the rosters. These situations change constantly. I remember the Phillies once said that Chase Utley was going to be a Philly for life. They was traded soon after that. So anything can happen going forward. Listen, you're right, Glenn. I'm not expecting the Eagles to not trade A.J. Brown just because Howie Roseman, said what he said. So I don't buy into that at all. I agree with you. I do think, though, it's interesting that the Eagles are maintaining a position that they're not trading him, almost like they're trying to maintain, negotiating power. They're trying to maintain, hey, guys, we know, but, we're going to work behind the scenes. Give us your best offer. And I don't know if you're going to get the best offer for A.J. Brown, because of the fact that it depends on what his market is. Outside the New England Patriots and maybe the Buffalo Bills, I don't know how many teams are going to be, going out of their way to give up, high draft picks for a guy in A.J. Brown who, let's be realistic, if we are having conversations about him and his, his bad attitude, his emotional stability, etc., if we're having the conversation, Alex, who else might be having that conversation in their offices?
Well, granted, Philly media is some of the toughest overanalyzing, but I do agree with you that other GMs are going to see it. They're also going to see the game that he just played. It's the most recent game. It's what's fresh on everybody's mind. 3 or 4 big drops in that game. But I have a question, because my dad asked it to me yesterday. He said, do you think Howie was, shopping around? Because to me, I personally think the speculation is true. Probably A.J. Brown was asking for a trade. I'm not going to doubt that. But in my mind, Howie Roseman said, we like good football players. A.J. Brown is a good football player. We want good football players. To me, I think Howie might have just said, yeah, cool, A.J., we got a shot at winning here. You're just going to have to tough it out. I don't even think he was shopping around, really.
I don't think he was for this reason. I think, and now again, I do not have inside information. I will disclaimer that right now. But I believe that part of the Jeffrey Lurie meeting with him, remember that during the season?
Yeah.
I think part of that was the owner of the team sitting him down and saying, AJ, you got to get off social media. You got to stop looking like you're a problem, even if you don't think you're a problem. Perception is reality. Listen to me, AJ Brown. I sign your paycheck. If you want to get traded, we can have a conversation in the offseason. Stop trying to make a problem in season. Because if you notice, after that meeting, AJ Brown stopped the social media stuff. AJ Brown stopped the weird statements in the locker room, right? He started being more of a team guy. Now, it didn't help his play on the field because he kept dropping passes all year long. But I think that's what the Jeffrey Lurie meeting was. I think the Lurie meeting was the owner putting his foot down, Big Dom standing in that side of the room with his arms folded. Because you remember, when Sirianni and AJ Brown had the confrontation on the sidelines, who was the guy who jumped in immediately?
Big Dom immediately.
Big Dom immediately. And who did he go after? Did he go after Sirianni?
No.
He went after A.J. Brown.
Yeah, and I think that's actually an interesting point you brought up with Jeffrey Lurie saying, hey, we'll trade you in the offseason. Chill it out, man. Because what was the last thing that happened after that game? A.J. Brown refused to speak to the media.
Yep.
He might have said, hey, our little negotiation that we had, whatever you want to call it in our conversation, that's over now. Season's done. I'm going to do what I want. I don't have to talk to the media.
Are you saying maybe that the Eagles told him to leave?
No, I'm saying A.J.
okay.
Brown might have been like, look, I listened to you all season long. I stopped it. I, tried to play by the rules. We came to an agreement. But the season's over now. This is the offseason when you said, if I keep my mouth quiet, you'll move me. I can do whatever I want now. He kind of gave the bird maybe to Jeffrey and the media there saying, I don't have to listen to you anymore.
Yeah, maybe the Eagles said, good, you didn't say anything bad. Get out of the building.
Yeah, it actually worked on both sides.
Right. Angie Tuckerton chimes in at 609-403-0973. Angie says, I am prioritizing the tight end. I want Mike McDaniel as the OC to transform this offense. A great tight end will help block for Jalen to get this run game going. And it's a way to get more chunk plays and push the ball down the field, says Angie Tuckerton. Well, two things there. First of all, Angie, I like you brought up Mike McDaniel because I think McDaniel is going to learn very quickly in this coaching cycle what his future is as a coach. I think we are going to see very quickly, do teams still view him as a head coaching candidate, or does he view OC as his pathway back to being a head coach? I agree with you. I think he can transform this offense. I am not as adverse to bringing in a Shanahan tree guy as some people are. I understand it would be a great problem for Jeff Stoutland, who doesn't coach the type of offensive line. So if you bring in Mike McDaniel, is Stoutland going to be an obstacle there, or would Stoutland be able to adjust? That's one. Two, if Mike McDaniel comes here, I guarantee you him and A.J. Brown are not getting along. You know why? Because you know who didn't get along with Mike McDaniel in Miami?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. And Mike McDaniel is a very quirky dude. Okay? That dude may be a savant. He may be a genius. But there's a reason why that Jalen Waddle got along with him great and Tyreek Hill didn't. And you know what? I think he would have a great relationship with Devontae Smith. I think he had a great relationship with Jalen Hurts because they're professionals. They're guys who are football-first guys, right? Like the first time we ever heard Devontae Smith say anything non-football related this year was when we went on that 5-minute rant about juicing. Remember that? Back in, I got a juicer for was it a gift? I think it was. And
I think it was that, and then it was if a plane goes down and he's jumping out.
Oh,
on
right,
the hard
yeah.
knocks. That was the two things.
It's like those are the only two things we've ever heard him say non-football. And like the only time we've seen Jalen Hurts be non-football is in the Sprite commercial. So, I think that Mike McDaniel will get along with those guys great because that's the thing with Mike McDaniel. For those who don't know McDaniel's background, and I'm not gonna do a whole dissertation on Mike McDaniel because he has a crazy life story, but that dude loves football more than some of you listening on 97.3 ESPN Love Football. That guy is a football 24/7 psycho to the point where he literally was stalking other teams' bars to taunt them when the Dolphins beat those teams. Like, he's that kind of weird, all right? So he would totally fit in with Philadelphia. About the tight end with Angie Tuckerton, that's why I'm saying, whether it's the Eli Stower or somebody else, I would love to see the Eagles go out and draft like a high-level tight end to kind of be that stud to replace an oft-injured Dallas Goedert. Because as you said, Alex, Kyle Pitts is probably getting a lot of money on the free agent market.
I think a lot of GMs and coaches can look because it was odd how little he was being used in Atlanta. It was like, all right, cool, yeah, obviously you have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, like you have players there, but coming out of college, like Kyle Pitts was the guy. Like he was something like not like
he's also a local guy.
For PA. He went to where did he go to high school?
He went to
buddy of mine played.
Philly.
Yeah, buddy of mine played ball with him.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, when you tell me, I'll know exactly where it is.
Archbishop Wood.
Yep, my buddy of mine played with him. Yeah, like it was just weird that how little usage he was getting in Atlanta, and then he had the one Thursday night game where he just went ballistic. And then GMs and coaches are probably looking at that game and being like, if we can scheme him better than Atlanta did, which probably isn't going to be that hard because they didn't involve him at all, there's a problem here. This guy could be a top 3, top 5 tight end in this league like he was projected to be coming out of Florida.
Well, listen, maybe that's the reason why the Eagles are interviewing this offensive coordinator. He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN, being brought to you by my friends over at Prevail Nutrition. Make 2026 the year that you get healthier and you get great food without having to break your back in the kitchen. Simplify your life. Go to prevailnutrition.club. Be like me. Simplify your life. You can get the deliveries in Atlantic and Cumberland counties plus Ocean City, or you can do pickup in Absecon on Mondays and Fridays. Orders over $50 are free delivery. Again, prevailnutrition.club. Simplify your life. We are all busy, so let Prevail Nutrition step up and take care of your meals. We'll get to Goody and Galloway and more text coming up. 609-403-0973. We're streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
Where do you go to get an offensive coordinator who's proven in that town, who's never going to get a head coaching job again? Frank Reich is your answer. Done and done. Make him the offensive coordinator for the next few years. He's not going to be a head coach in this league again, so there's a solution. Is it better than Kevin Petullo based on experience in Philadelphia and based on the fact that no one will hire him as a head coach? That's what they need.
Wake up weekday mornings with Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman on 97.3 ESPN.
Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and food. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
In 2026, Moppert Brothers at Northfield celebrates an incredible milestone. 50 years of repairing vehicles back to factory specifications after an accident. Family owned and operated for 5 decades, they take pride in doing things the right way, with the owners on site and involved every day. They're manufacturer certified by Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Ford, Tesla, and Polestar. Their technicians are expertly trained and use state-of-the-art equipment. Moppert Brothers at Northfield. 50 years of trust. 50 years of quality.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Any trade goes now at RK Kia of Vineland. Still owe thousands on your trade? It doesn't matter. RK Kia wants any trade, regardless of year, make, model, or condition. Drive home a new Kia for $199 a month. $199. Lease new 26 Kia K4 LXs from just $199 a month. $199 for 24 months. New front-wheel drive 26 Kia Sorento S, just $388 a month. $388. Plus, you get RK coverage. No charge. Ding repair, tire repair, wheel repair, windshield repair, and more. No charge. Any trade goes. RK Kia of Vineland. RK does it right. RK Kia of Vineland. MyRKKia.com. MyRKKia.com.
To qualified buyers, plus tax and title. For details, call 856-641-1111 or myrkkia.com.
Caesars Sportsbook app is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action, earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open with new users in New Jersey who are 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500. Award is non-withdrawable bonus bet expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. Let's wrap up the hour. I want to get to Goody and Galloway because I think that he had a very interesting text at 609-403-0973. He chimes in and says, Kenyon Sadiq is the most complete tight end prospect in a long time. The Eagles have the chance to draft him. They should do it in a heartbeat. If it's moving up some, they should do it. At receiver, the guy I like to replace A.J. Brown is Elijah Surratt from Indiana. Big, strong, great hands. It's Goody and Galloway. Well, I am not willing to sacrifice too much to trade up for a guy who I think Sadiq is a really good prospect. I agree 100%, but there's something about him that kind of like, is he going to be one of those guys who goes like to the NFL Combine and like jumps out of the building and turns him into like a Kyle Pitts, like a top 5 pick? You know what I mean, Alex?
Yeah. Now, when he says he's the most complete tight end, Brock Bowers coming out of college was a problem.
Is him and Warren.
Yeah.
Warren last year.
Warren was just a freak because I was there every game.
Well, I'm more objective than you.
Yeah, but he was throwing the ball. He was like he literally without him, Penn State did not make that semifinal game.
Listen, I look at Warren as a guy who. And Brock Bowers, and you can go Colton Loveland too, but I think all of those guys are kind of like, I think that people are looking at Sadiq, it's very like what I've seen most recently, if we get those other guys. But I think Sadiq's going to be a Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to go to the combine, I think he's going to jump out of the building, he's going to have these amazing measurables, he's going to interview great, and he's going to be like the 5th overall pick. And I'm not trading the 5th overall pick for a tight end. I'm
curious to see Oscar Delp out of Georgia. He's in the draft this year, right?
I think so. I'll double check.
I'd like Delp, another one of those Georgia tight ends.
All right, we'll get more into it. We'll get more into the Eagles, the offense coordinator search, and a little bit later we will get into Bo Bichette leaves the Phillies at the wedding altar. All that and more so to come. He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig. Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM. Streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios at Josh Hennig at 97.3 ESPN.
Sixers star BJ Edgecombe, #1 overall picks, Cade Cunningham and Cooper Flagg. Before they played in the NBA, they played at the Metro Classic. The Metro Classic is coming to Stockton University in Galloway from January 29th through the 31st. 6 of the nation's top 10 teams, plus local teams, Middle Township and Atlantic City, all will be hitting the floor. Tickets and schedules are available now at MetroClassicBasketball.com.
Automotive Avenues, your family-owned, pre-owned dealership is growing and now has a second location in Sewell. Automotive Avenues brings the power of wholesale to the public. They make financing easy. Good credit, bad credit, no credit. You are still approved. Find out why Automotive Avenues has won customer satisfaction awards for the last 8 years. Discover why everybody loves Automotive Avenues of Sewell on Delsey Drive. Or check out their expanded inventory now at automotiveavenusnj.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Go to get your game on at the Fanatics Sportsbook in the gallery at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go where fans become fanatics at the Fanatics Sportsbook in the gallery. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Red Hot Winter Sales event is underway at Matt Black Kia. Right now, choose 0% APR financing for up to 72 months or get up to $10,000 cash back on select new Kias. And for the ultimate Red Hot Winter deal, lease a 2026 Kia Sportage LX for only $129 a month with $4,650 due at signing for 24 months. That's right. Choose between $10,000 cash back, 0% APR financing, or a lease for just $129 a month. And if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today. Visit mattblackkia.com or call 215-703-8526 for details. It's got to be a Matt Black Kia.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally! This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
It certainly seems like Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie heavily involved in the finding of an offensive coordinator. Zach Robinson, former Falcons OC, interviewed today. Wouldn't be surprised if Brian Daboll is on the list. Wouldn't be surprised if it's something foreign to what Sirianni has looked for previously. Might be time for a new outlook for this Eagles offense. It remains to be seen whether or not that does include A.J. Brown.
Interesting comments there from Ian Rappaport from NFL Network last night, because he's the third person who I have heard say that how Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman will be heavily involved in the OC search for the Eagles' next offensive coordinator. And listen, they said a lot at the press conference this week that this is Sirianni will be involved. Well, I don't think Sirianni's going to be shut out, but listen, when Ian Rappaport is saying the same thing as Nick Foles and Chris Long, tend to think Jeffrey Lurie might have had a conversation with Nick Sirianni this week and been like, hey, buddy, we tried it your way. We're doing my way moving forward.
I mean, he failed twice. Sounds like me doing Spanish in college. I failed it twice. The third time wasn't it was for me. It wasn't for him because he ain't getting a third chance. But no, you lost your privilege. You had your opportunities. You didn't capitalize on it. Howie Roseman's kind of a cutthroat GM. Not he's going to fire Nick, but he's saying you costed this team by making that decision. And it was a pretty big miss you took there.
So to come on the show, Andy McNamara will join us coming up at 1:25 to preview all the NFL games. Don't forget, we have all the NFL playoff games this weekend on 97.3 ESPN, streaming live on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Scheduled for today, of course, Hanging with Hennig till 3 p.m., followed by a special Mike Gill Power Hour, broadcasting live from Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. He will lead you right into our NFL playoff coverage at 4 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, all the games today and tomorrow streaming live on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. And, of course, Rob Meyer from the Associated Press will join us coming up in the next hour as well. But the OC search is very, very, very interesting, Alex, because one of the names who has already been brought up, who's been brought in for an interview already, is Zach Robinson. And the Zach Robinson name, I think, is very interesting. Because Zach Robinson, who is the OC for the Atlanta Falcons this year. Well, wait a minute. Who just played for the Falcons this year at tight end?
Kyle Pitts.
So how much of this might be a conversation about, hey, we want to interview you, but we want to gather some information on Kyle Pitts as well. If we bring you in, are you going to be a guy who is Kyle Pitts wants to play for, number one? Number two, the other part of Zach Robinson I think is interesting is he comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, which is a branch off of the Kyle Shanahan tree. Do you talk to Robinson to gain information so then when you meet with Mike McDaniel, it helps your conversation with him? Because McDaniel's from the same coaching tree. Was that too much for you over there?
I'm like trying to process that. I don't know. I think that these guys have so much tape and everything on what these guys are. They know, like, and it goes to the conversation I asked you when we were in break, where it was like, are you willing to bring in a guy who you know is going to leave? And I feel like if this guy, Zach Robinson, lights it up, he's going to be one of those Ben Johnson type guys where,
right?
Oh, teams are banging down the doors in Philly to try to get a hold of this guy. It's just, McDaniels, I think, might be a similar situation, but he might also just be like, hey, I'm pretty good at this OC job. I was in way too deep as a head coach. Let me just thug it out here. But I don't know. I feel like you bring in this guy from Atlanta, he lights it up, we go back to Super Bowl, it's going to be a Ben Johnson type situation. And you got to be, and that's just whether Jalen Hurts and the organization is okay with that happening. Because that's been the one thing I've been like going back and forth with. Do I want a seasoned guy like, let's say, Frank Wright, who he's that Vic Fangio type where it's, this is all I want to do. I'm too old. I'm done doing the head coaching thing. I just want to sit in the booth, call some plays. That's all I want to do. Or do you want to get one of these young guys who's going to have a great offense, but then when the season's over, we're back at square one and Jalen Hurts is getting another offensive coordinator? That's just a decision Howie has to make. I think Jalen's going to have some say in that as well.
All right, so you said a lot there. So first of all, the reason why I brought up the information gathering is there's a lot of teams in the NFL that do that with the interviews. Just a little FYI. They'll interview people, not just interview them for their job, they gather information. That's kind of why I brought up the Zach Robinson thing. But to your point about, you know, do you bring in a guy who would not leave for a head coaching job? That's where a guy like Evan Cohen on a Sportsman like her Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN, he keeps pounding the table for Frank Reich because Frank Reich knows Nick Sirianni. They have a very long running relationship. Frank Reich was one of the references on Sirianni's resume when he interviewed for the job here. And Sirianni runs Frank Reich's offense. The offense we have seen for the last 5 years is a variation of what Frank Reich runs, which Frank Reich runs a variation of what Doug Peterson ran. So it's this kind of like a variant of the West Coast offense. That's one way you could go. You could say, now I haven't seen Frank Reich's name brought up anywhere in any reporting, so I'm not acting like this is some, it's going to happen. But that's kind of the direction that you're describing, where it's like, go get a guy who would not leave for a head coaching job. Now, everything I've seen so far is Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll, they are on the top of the list of guys that went for the OC. Multiple reports are out there saying that. I know there's a lot of speculation about Cliff Kingsbury because he interviewed for the job before they gave it to Kellen Moore. The problem with Kingsbury is Kingsbury wanted to blow up the whole coaching staff. He wanted to get rid of half the people here, and the Eagles were like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So would Kingsbury be willing not to blow it up, right, is the question.
I think, like, if they are going to go in the direction of, hey, I don't care, I just need someone good for this year, we'll deal with next year when we get there, Philly's got to be one of the top desirable spots to go to. One, because the talent's there, that's all in itself. But with how bad it was this year, it can only go up. Like, you're going to look like a genius whatever you put out next year because it just can't be as bad as it was this year. So, one, you have all the talent in the world around you. And two, all everyone has to look at is you're better than what it was. And you're going to look 10 times better than you would normally look because of how bad we just had it.
Yeah, and I think that also the reason why a guy like McDaniel is so appealing, and Dable as well, I'll throw him in there. You mentioned the Jalen Hurts part. How, whoever you bring in, how is that guy going to work with your quarterback? There's a lot of rumor and speculation reporting out there that Jalen might be part of the problem, Alex, that Jalen is part of the issue with this team. Well, if Jalen's part of the issue with the team, then do you have to look at Jalen and say, Jalen, look, we want to bring in these candidates. You got to give us some feedback if you're open to these guys. If you're not open to these guys, we got to know. We got to know now. You were with Brian Dable at Alabama. You're friends with Tua Tagovailoa. What does he tell you about Mike McDaniel? You know, what's his name? Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson, he has been the Sean McVay coaching system. How do you feel about that offense? Like, those are the conversations you do have to have because if, you know, Derek Gunn, he's the one reported this year, right, that Jalen's the guy, they practice one thing during the week, and then he would change things at the line of scrimmage. We saw the Hard Knocks clip, right, where Devontae said, I thought I was running a slant, and Jalen said, I thought you were running a dig. And then Jalen's like, my bad, trying to drop F-bombs left and right on the sideline. So do you need to make sure that the OC you bring in is going to keep Jalen, I don't want to say in line, but keep him on point? How about that?
Yeah, but also, if we're going to talk about Hard Knocks clips of Jalen Hurts, what about in the most recent one where Jalen was talking to Cape? It was either Sirianni or KP. Either way, it was a higher up. He was saying, let's try to put the post in, that deep post in. Let's try to get aggressive here. Like, he was making it known.
Talking to Sirianni.
He was making it known this isn't working. Like, what's a post route? Up the middle. What's everybody been saying Jalen hasn't done?
Throw up the middle.
Throw up the middle. That's a post route is in the middle. Like, he wants to get aggressive. They showed the zoom in before the 4th and 11 play. He's looking at Nick Sirianni like, what is this guy talking about? And Nick Sirianni kind of had the look where he just knew this was over. He kind of gave Jalen the look that, man, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's why I don't buy the belief that Jalen can evolve, that he's a certain type of quarterback. This is what Nick Foles said on the season podcast this week because, Foles agrees with me that he doesn't think that Jalen Hurts is like a stuck in his ways guy who can't evolve and develop.
I think there's some times where they're like, hey, we don't think he can do this. But then I would argue you're a coach. Like, Jalen has shown the success he's had from high school to college at both colleges he was at, Alabama and Oklahoma, to coming into the NFL as a second-round pick behind Carson Wentz, to now leading your team to 5 straight postseasons, 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl victory, Super Bowl MVP. Man, this guy wants to learn, and you never have all the answers. Even when I finished my career, I was always learning. You're always learning. But you need a great coach to teach you the ins and outs of the plays and the progressions.
And I think that's where Dable and McDaniel also appeal to me because Dable turned Josh Allen from Josh Allen was a rough prospect coming out of college. Horrible footwork, bad mechanics, bad decision-making. He built him up to be an MVP candidate, and then he got the Giants job. Mike McDaniel turned Tua from a potential first-round bust into a guy who threw for almost 5,000 passing yards his one healthy season. Mike McDaniel has worked with other quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo with San Francisco, Matt Ryan in the Falcons when he won the MVP award. So I think that if you get coaches who might be able to communicate to Jalen differently and in a better way, as Nick Foles said, it's the job of the coach to coach the guy up. It's the job of the coach to put the player in a position to be successful.
I hate the argument, like you say, where people are like, maybe he just can't learn the offense, or he's not like that smart of a quarterback. It's like this guy led a Lincoln Riley offense to the college football playoffs. I don't know if you know, but Lincoln Riley's got a pretty complex offense to run, air raid type offense to run. And that was when he was in college. So he's gone to 2 Super Bowls, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both those Super Bowls. This last Super Bowl, Steve Spagnuolo, other than Vic Fangio, a top defensive coordinator in this league. He said, I'm not letting Saquon Barkley beat me. I'm letting Jalen Hurts beat me. And you know what happened? Jalen Hurts stepped up and beat him. He read the coverages. He made the plays. Played phenomenal that game. Anybody who says Jalen Hurts isn't smart enough or can't comprehend the offense or can't adjust or adapt, keep it to yourself. I'm not buying it.
On the text board at 609-403-0970, Paul from Millville chimes. This is Philly sports teams need to stop hiring coaches in hopes of bringing in free agents. We have seen this week how much that actually works. And I'm going to say this. McDaniel would get eaten alive in Philadelphia. Sirianni could barely handle the Philly media. This guy has no shot at success here. Well, I think it's an unfair summation, Paul on Millville. By the way, it was Paul from Millville at the Chad Lewis note, so thank you for that, Paul on Millville. McDaniel is a quirky, odd dude, but he's also a football 24/7 dude. And I think Philly fans would appreciate a guy who, now look, does he say some weird things at press conferences? Yeah.
What was Nick Sirianni's first press conference in Philly?
A bomb.
Exactly.
It was an abomination.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I don't think McDaniel will get eaten alive necessarily. I think the thing with McDaniel is that if you're asking him to be just the offensive coordinator, I think he'll be great. I think he has shown a level of proficiency as the OC. But I do understand the vibe of you don't bring in somebody to get a free agent. Now, I will touch on this because I haven't had a chance to talk about the JT stuff, the Bo Bichette stuff. I hear what you're saying, and they brought in Don Mattingly. They were hoping Mattingly would have a good relationship with Bo Bichette. They hoped that would get them across the finish line. The problem with the Phillies is very different than the Eagles. The Eagles have a track record of being able to go out there and get their guy. But as Bob Nightingale told Mike Gill in the Sports Bash yesterday here on 97.3 ESPN, the Phillies gave Bo Bichette everything he wanted, and he still said, I'd rather go to the Mets.
The Phillies thought they had it done. The Bichette team had asked for 7 years for $200 million. Phillies agreed to it. They thought it was just, okay, dot some I's here, cross some T's, get it done. And then all of a sudden, boom, the Mets kind of steal him away. Now the Mets are going to play him at third base and figure out the rest of their infield.
And it was Bo Bichette who was offered the money that he wanted. The Blue Jays offered Kyle Tucker more money than the Dodgers gave him. But for whatever reason, these players, like the Bichettes of the world and the Tuckers of the world, they are prioritizing the opt-outs because of the fact that with the CBA coming up in a year and a half, they want to be able to hit free agency under the new CBA and not get locked into the old numbers and the old rules. And so the Phillies have a history of not giving out opt-outs, and I think Don Mattingly actually did his job. He got you the meeting. He got you in the room. He got you a commitment. But then Bo Bichette was like, you know what? I prefer not being locked into a long-term relationship, and I would rather have a situationship with the Mets. That's what happened. He basically committed. They offered him the engagement ring. He said yes, but as soon as he found somebody who wasn't going to demand that he would be a monogamous in his relationship long term, he was like, you know what? I'd rather go somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't blame the Phillies for not matching with because what the Mets gave him, in my opinion, is absurd. That whole 2-year, both 2026, 2027, 2028, the opt-outs
every year.
That's absurd, and I do think it has something to do with the CBA. I believe a lockout's coming. After time, I thought so. It was going to happen anyway. Then the whole Kyle Tucker thing happened. $60 million a year. Look, good player, not even close to that amount of money. But I more so blame the Phillies. How did you not get this done in that Zoom call or the night before the deal with the Mets was made, when you met his demands, you guys were in an agreement. How does pen to paper not happen there? That's where I more have – let's go. That's where I more have the disagreement or blame for the Phillies, where it's like, you had him. Shame on you for letting him walk out the door without a deal in place.
Yeah, and what makes it worse is that when Bob Nightingale explains, like, hey, the Phillies met their demands. So
yeah, they
did
all they could do.
So the Phillies did their job. So I don't want to blame bringing in Don Mattingly for why it failed. I just think Bo Bichette decided that he didn't want to be in a monogamous relationship. He wanted to be, out there, flirting and doing his thing and just be like, hey, we can be friends with benefits with the Mets instead,
Yeah, have fun with Lindor and Soto.
Yeah.
They're going to miss the playoffs, though. I could have lived with him going to Boston or let's just say the Blue Jays, but when I saw the Jeff Passan ESPN breaking news Mets, I crumbled. It broke me.
Absolutely. By the way, when they come back to Philadelphia, who gets booed more? Is it Bo Bichette or A.J. Brown with the new team?
Oh, because it's going to be Bo, but I don't blame Bo for what he did. Like, I believe if I was in that situation or you were in that situation, we're probably doing the same thing.
I wouldn't, but that's because my integrity is too high, and that's probably why I'm in the situation I'm in. So it's like,
I was wondering, is it going to be a Cutter Gauthier situation now? Where's that going to rank?
Yeah, where does he fall on the most hated man list?
Yeah.
He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN, being sponsored by Work of Art Construction. It's 2026. Are you ready to beautify your home? Art Masters 40 years of construction experience and know-how to make your home look like a work of art. Whether you need a new back deck or want to remodel the kitchen or bathroom, get that home makeover with Work of Art Construction. They can make your home look brand new. Call them at 609-788-4271. Mention you heard about him on 97.3 ESPN with Hanging with Hennig and receive 10% off your next home project. 609-788-4271. Again, 10% off your next home project with Work of Art Construction when you mention 97.3 ESPN. Let them make your home look truly like a work of art. Back to the NFL conversation next. We'll preview all the NFL games with Andy McNamara coming up next, along with Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig. You're hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
Where do you go to get an offensive coordinator who's proven in that town, who's never going to get a head coaching job again? Frank Reich is your answer. Done and done. Make him the offensive coordinator for the next few years. He's not going to be a head coach in this league again, so there's a solution. Is it better than Kevin Patullo based on experience in Philadelphia and based on the fact that no one will hire him as a head coach? That's what they need.
Wake up weekday mornings with Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman on 97.3 ESPN.
Caesars Sportsbook app is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. Bet on gridiron action, earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey for 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500. Award is non-withdrawable bonus bet expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Listen up. The soap you shower with? It's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Are you ready to sell your home? Call Dave Beach. He makes sure his clients receive the very best in service. Dave Beach at RE/MAX Community is your trusted local expert. Fast closings, top offers, and service just like your family. 609-685-4942. Online at soldbydavebeach.com.
Any trade goes. Now at RK Kia of Vineland. Still owe thousands on your trade? It doesn't matter. RK Kia wants any trade, regardless of year, make, model, or condition. Drive home a new Kia for $199 a month. $199. Lease new 26 Kia K4 LXs from just $199 a month. $199 for 24 months. New front-wheel drive 26 Kia Sorento S, just $388 a month. $388. Plus, you get RK coverage. No charge. Ding repair, tire repair, wheel repair, windshield repair, and more. No charge. Any trade goes. RK Kia of Vineland. RK does it right. RK Kia of Vineland. MyRKKia.com. MyRKKia.com.
To qualified buyers, plus tax and title. For details, call 856-641-1111 or myrkkia.com.
Your holiday decor is down and suddenly your house looks very January. Kohl's can help you bring the spark back. No twinkle lights needed. Save on bedding that feels like a snow day. Decor that'll boost the mood. And Shark vacuums because, yes, you're still finding pine needles. Get an extra 15% off some of your faves store-wide. And beat those winter blahs at Kohl's. Select styles. Offer ends January 25th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Shark. See store or Kohls.com for details.
The champs are back, and it's game time at the family-owned Piccalilli Inn. Skip the lame chains. Treat your friends to their world-famous wings for eat-in or carry-out, and 6-packs to go. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 in Shamong. Visit Piccalilli.com.
The Red Hot Winter Sales event is underway at Matt Black Kia. Right now, choose 0% APR financing for up to 72 months, or get up to $10,000 cash back on select new Kias. And for the ultimate Red Hot Winter deal, lease a 2026 Kia Sportage LX for only $129 a month with $46.50 due at signing for 24 months. That's right. Choose between $10,000 cash back, 0% APR financing, or a lease for just $129 a month. And if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today. Visit mattblackkia.com or call 215-703-8526 for details. It's got to be a Matt Black Kia.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I want my picks back, and I want David Putnam.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I want all my picks back, and I want David Putnam just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already?
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hang with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN, of course, is being sponsored by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering you Caesars rewards. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now and build the perfect same-game parlay, bet on the game live, or try their quick pick parlays that are pre-built just for you. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks in every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM. And get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey who are 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500 awarded as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. I do not need people going out there risking their life savings on these bets, even though I only got one pick wrong last weekend. And a man who knows a lot about building parlays joins us now. He's the host of the Sick Podcast. He is also an NFL writer for Sporting News. Andy McNamara joins us here as we're going to get into all of the NFL games on 97.3 ESPN. Andy, welcome in. How you doing today?
Josh, Alex, how's it going, boys? Yeah, look, it's not gambling if you get it right. You know, that's it. It's not gambling if you're right. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be. I can't wait for these games this weekend. My goodness, like we got a 4-pack. What I love, guys, is you can make an argument in any case, in any way, and it makes sense. There's not like one come on,
So before we get to the schedule of games, because we're going to hit on each one with you, Andy. You are someone who covers the Browns for many years. You know very well these coach interviews, finding the OC. Your team's going through it right now, right? So, for you with Philadelphia, we'll kind of repurpose to you the question we've been asking throughout the show, which is, what would Andy McNamara say should be the next OC of the Philadelphia Eagles?
You know what? I think Kevin Stefanski. And I do think he's going to get a head coaching job, just because seems like there's so few qualified or experienced, or qualified, I guess, is debatable, but so few options. So I think he will get one of those. But when he was fired, I thought, because we have to think of it this way, guys. You get maybe 2 chances to be an NFL head coach. Like if you get one, maybe you don't get a third, or it is super rare. So if you're Stefanski or Mike McDaniel, you got to think, okay, do I want to jump right back in, be a head coach? Is this the right situation? Or do I want to build up my stock a little bit on a team with a championship caliber like the Philadelphia Eagles, then up the stock, and then people start forgetting about the record and when you were last time head coach, and you kind of rejuvenate yourself. So and Stefanski is a noted Eagles fan from a kid, loves the team, respect between the organizations. They had joint practices. So I think it should be Kevin Stefanski. But if he does get a head coaching job, then you got to look at what does the job entail? Is this person going to call plays? If they are or aren't, that significantly changes who the candidates can be and who wants to go there.
Well, we already know they're going to call plays. They pretty much have said that the guy is going to have autonomy. I think the issue is that enough? Like, is it enough to be like, hey, you're going to call the plays? Because Sirianni overtly said it multiple times in the presser this week that he values being a head coach. Howie Roseman said he's an elite as a head coach. So the organization wants him in that CEO role. Mm-hmm. So if you can call the plays, then the next layer of the conversation is, but are you going to call your offense, or is it an amalgamation like we did 2 years ago of Kellen Moore merging it with Sirianni's offense?
Well, that's an interesting point you bring up, right? Because I think it also depends on who you get to come in as that OC. Is it someone super experienced like a Todd Monken, for example, right? I got my offense for 20 years and this is it. Or is it somebody who's going to get their first chance to be a play caller and maybe they'd be more open to a collaboration like a Nate Scheelhaas from the Rams, who's not even the offensive coordinator, he's pass game coordinator, or a Dan Pitcher.
I think
from
Philadelphia wants to steer away from that. They already tried the pass game coordinator. It didn't work.
Yeah. Well, but he's not calling plays with the Rams. So when he comes and he calls plays, that's an upgrade. So that's an interest for that guy. Dan Pitcher, who's been with Joe Burrow since day one, and Joe Burrow loves as QB coach, then offensive coordinator, isn't calling plays. So that's an upgrade. So I think when you look at guys like that, those would be sort of my looks if I'm Philadelphia, and quite frankly for the Browns, to see, okay, who's a guy who's had success, been associated with success, and I can pry away from this team and give them play calling. So guys like that. Grant Udinsky is a riser in this. They're 30, just turned 30 with the Jags. And that's another guy maybe to keep an eye on, but I think he'd have to go for a head coaching job to leave Jacksonville.
By the way, Jeremy Fowler just reported that the Eagles interviewed Mike Kafka today. So for those who don't know, Kafka from the Andy Reid coaching tree. Yeah. I kind of feel like that might have been like a, hey, Andy, we'll do you a favor kind of situation. Remember the last time they did Andy a favor, they hired Doug Peterson, and we saw how that worked out. So, I mean, it's not
pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah. So you're going to get names popping up all over, right? And like I said, I think the most interesting fit, because Kevin Stefanski is super collaborative. That was the whole deal in Cleveland. That didn't go well. It was too collaborative. So I think he'd be down for it. Just really depends what you're looking for and what Stefanski wants. Or Mike McDaniel's interviewing for OC jobs as well. Would a Mike McDaniel of interest? But then you fall into whose offense, and are you interested in some? I think there's going to be some collaboration no matter what. Like you're bouncing ideas, but how much so? For then, if you're Mike McDaniel, I think even more so than Kevin Stefanski. If you're McDaniel, you need a little juice to get back into the head coaching search, man. Like you looked weird and weak as a leader. The offense we know is there. Like build yourself back up. Get rid of the weird Miami haircut with the glass. Come on, smart enough, right? And get back to it. And maybe something like Philly with the talent would be able to do that.
Now, Andy, I want to move this conversation a little bit to the games that we have this weekend because we got a lot of great games starting today. Now, the big game, in my opinion, is the Bears-Rams game. I think the winner of that game is going to the Super Bowl. I have my pick. I'll wait a little bit on that. But I'm seeing these weather reports in Chicago. Like, this thing's just going to be a frozen tundra. How is that going to affect Stafford? One, with his throwing hand that's has been iffy all week. And then are these players just going to be able to play in those kind of elements? Or is that really not that important?
Like, I would say this, guys. I'm still looking. That over-under total is still at 48.5. Like, are you guys with me? And we're smashing the under? Like, in this weather?
Yeah.
You're telling me you're going to be popping up? I think this is I know what the Eagles or what the Rams and Stafford have done. And Stafford's not, he played with Detroit. Now, you're indoors there, but in cold weather before. But I don't think we're going to be getting a high-scoring game. I would smash that under. And I did a little research, too. It doesn't, because we think of Sean McVay, pretty boy with the tan. He's got his little gelled hair and all that. Oh, he can't handle cold weather. He's 2-2 at games at freezing or below. Stafford 3-3 in games at freezing or below. So it's kind of a wash. So I think this is going to be a run-heavy game. Prop-wise, I'd be smashing the Bears running backs, Swift and Montague, and probably for the Rams too. You go Williams, and I think this is going to be a situation where, like we see in cold weather games, I guess it could happen, but with what the wind I'm sure is going to be, with the temperatures, I don't think it's going to be some aerial assault from both sides here.
So with Andy McNamara joining us, host of the Sick Podcast, NFL writer for the Sporting News at AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform, as well as AndyMC Sports on Instagram. Give a follow over there. Since we're working in reverse order here, we'll go next to Texans versus Patriots. This is probably going to be an under as well. This is probably going to be a rock fight. You got two defensive players who are head coaches. People forget Mike Vrabel and DeMeco Ryans were both linebackers in the NFL.
Yep.
And now this is probably going to be one of those games where whoever makes the fewest mistakes is probably going to win. So who do you have more faith in, Andy McNamara? Is it Drake May or C.J. Stroud?
Boy, man. I think I have more faith in the Texans defense. I'm looking here. 36 degrees snow, again, and this chess match of head coach is very interesting. I feel it goes this way. The Texans do not have the firepower to compete in a catch-up game. So we look at the final score of that Pittsburgh game. People see 30-6. You think, oh, they blew them out. No, it was 7-6 for over 3 quarters. And then the defense ground them down and broke them. If you're the Texans, you got to be in a situation almost identical. If you have to play catch-up, I think the deal for the Patriots, try to score quick. Make him play catch-up, because I love C.J. Stroud. I think he still has growing to do, and I think he's a heck of a talent. But that offense, Nico Collins not 100%. The offense is bland, and he's out. Yeah, the offense is bland. It's bland. There's no juice to it, right? So when we're looking at that, you can't play catch-up. So if they're down, I think if this thing is close in the third quarter, I think Texans take it, similar to Pittsburgh. If the Patriots jump up a bit and start, making you play catch up, and we see Drake May is fearless. Drake May was sacked 5 times in one game by Myles Garrett. 5! And they still dumped like a 40 burger on the Browns. The guy doesn't care. Right? So I think that's going to be the chess game here. Can the Patriots get ahead, or will the Texans grind them down with the defense?
All right, now continuing to go in reverse order. The Seattle game, I'm curious what your thoughts are on Ryan Clark's comments on Sam Darnold were. he's coming into this game questionable with this oblique injury. Ryan Clark's making a bold statement and saying that he's feeling that it might be just setting himself up for an excuse when Sam Darnold inevitably comes up short in a big-time game. Everyone could say, oh, but he wasn't, had a full week of practice, had the oblique injury. I personally am not buying that, even though I'm not the biggest Sam Darnold guy. I think it's a crazy assumption and call out to make. But who do you see winning that game, and are you buying into what RC's saying?
That seems a bit clickbaity to me, right? Like, you tell me Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are spending their time concocting an elaborate ruse in case they lose? I think that's outrageous, right? Like, I guess, anything, we've seen crazier stuff, I suppose. But no, I think he's got a tweak injury, and he said, I'm going to keep playing. Okay? What's the Seahawks' MO for success since that sort of mid-season collapse-ish, and he threw the 4 picks? It's been cautious. It's been running the football, working play action, and taking the deep shot when it's there. It's very conservative, and I don't see that changing. And the Seahawks, remember, just that defense held the Niners to 3 points. And now you're without George Kittle for the whole game because he's out. So
I will say, I think that them losing to Seattle most recently actually helps the 49ers because now the coaches can say, hey, here's what they did to us. Now here's the counter.
Here's the counterpunch. And then it's up to Seattle to counter the counter.
Right.
Right. That's the situation. The 49ers, once again, the injuries are going to get them. The injuries are going to get them, and they always do. Seahawks defense, I think with that, if you can keep Sam Darnold in a safe situation, similar conversation to what I just said about the Patriots and Texans. If you're not playing from behind, if you're playing from behind and you're going to force Sam Darnold to go win you the game, that's when the jersey might start to get a little more New York Jets green and start seeing ghosts and all that good stuff. But if you can keep it close, let your defense own this thing for you, run the ball, I don't see any reason why with the 49ers defense that it's okay, but it's missing a lot of guys still. Like there just isn't a lot. They're super well coached, and we know they can move the ball, and they always seem to do it somehow. But man, I just feel it's going to be the Seahawks day. They're going to do that. That 7-point spread, though, I'll say, might be a bit rich. If I'm betting, I might take 49ers to cover and Seahawks to win because, you're playing a division opponent now for the 3rd time in the year. You're telling me by a touchdown? I don't know.
And finally, the first game that's coming up later today. By the way, you hear all these playoff games here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 4 p.m. today here on 97.3 following Mike Gill's Power Hour live from Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Bills, Broncos. This is a weird game because the Bills are a great second-half team. The Broncos are also a very good second-half team. So this kind of feels like one of those games where it's like a boxing match with two fighters like filling each other out, kind of like trying to figure each other out in the first half, and then it's just like haymakers in the second. I feel like this is going to be like a second half. The horses are going to run in this game. And then it comes down to who do you have more faith in? Do you have the faith in Sean Payton to be able to pull this off because he's done it before in the postseason, right? Or do you believe that Josh Allen can go nuclear despite his foot injury and find a way like they did last week? But they did this last week too, where they found a way to win the game in the end, and Josh Allen got some help from his defense.
And that's it, right? And you're looking at Josh Allen, who had, I think, like 3 different injuries last week and kept coming back.
Yeah.
So he's tough as nails. We know he's going to be out there, but how effective is he going to be able to be? The difference from in past years, you got James Cook, who's been rocking this year. So they're going to be looking at run the ball a lot. Shakir seems to be the only real semi-reliable target for Buffalo, right? And so when I look at this game, I'm looking at the weather here, just above freezing. Yeah, sunny. They could be zipping it in there. I think that's going to be perfect football weather for him. I got a hunch it's going to be Buffalo. And I can't necessarily quite put a finger on because like I said at the start, we can make points for any of these teams winning these games. That's what's going to be so interesting. But the Broncos, I think, are a bit more well-rounded, but you got the X factor of Josh Allen. And maybe it's going to be that the injuries are just a bit too much for him. Maybe it's going to be that. But I think maybe he's got one more week left in him to drive the Bills to the AFC Championship game. Because we've talked about it before, guys. if you're Buffalo, you know your Super Bowl window is open now, and next year it's closed. You think the Chiefs are going to not, with the 10th overall pick, they're not going to figure some stuff out? You think Ravens are going to be out of the playoffs forever? Bengals? No. Your path is here. Go beat the Broncos and take that next step. So that's why I feel Buffalo is going to sort of somehow, some way will its way to a victory here. But again, yeah, if Broncos come out of it and squeak one out, I'm not going to be surprised.
Really quick before we let you go, Andy, I got a little news that just dropped off. Ready for this?
Ooh. Okay.
So here's a new spin on the hiring cycle.
Okay.
The Packers are expecting Jeff Hafley to be hired as a head coach now. And now they are already beginning the process of looking for defensive coordinators. According to Tom Pelissero, Jeff Hafley has emerged as the frontrunner for the Dolphins job. And Mike Garafolo is saying the Packers have just started now to look for a new defensive coordinator. So throw that into the mix of a wild offseason.
Boy, and apparently LaFleur and the Packers are getting close to an extension, right? And it's a weird cycle. So Hafley there, yeah, that really sort of jams things up a little bit.
Your
right?
Browns better get Jim Schwartz locked down, or the Packers might come calling for him.
Andy, probably what you said is right. You're saying there's not a ton of quality names out there, so he's probably figuring, hey, good as time as any right now. There's a ton of openings, and
sure,
I'm throwing my name right in that pile.
Well, yeah, if you're Hafley, who's never been a head coach before in the NFL, it's like, all right, go for it, right? It's more like, why not? You get your shot, you see if you figure it out, and if it's not, you're making what, $10 million? Oh, okay, and you take the hit, and then you go back and be a defensive coordinator again somewhere else. So what? I think it's more of like these guys with the second chance, because that's your last shot for a McDaniel for a Stefanski. So that's really what I find interesting. Where are you going to go, and what are you going to do?
I also think it's funny that the Giants are still working out the wording of John Harbaugh's contract. Like, what is the wording? It has to be worked out. Like, you agreed on the money. They keep saying it's not the money, it's not the years. Then what is being discussed? Like, what?
It's got to be roster control. It's got to be final roster control.
You think so?
That's got to be it. That's got to be it. And I don't know what the language was going into it. What the GM situation is. Is there a battle of the GM being like, well, I don't want to have no say, right? Like, what's the deal there? But I wrote an article on Sporting News in a situation that it might seem far-fetched, but the Browns have done it before. And I don't think this is going to happen. But remember when Deshaun Watson crossed the Browns off their list and Jimmy Haslam, the owner, said, no. I'm going to pay you $230 million guarantee contract, never done before in the NFL here. All of a sudden, Deshaun Watson's like, hey, Northeast Ohio is not so bad. The Falcons had a Watson jersey made, ready to announce, and then they swooped in at the last second. So what I'm saying is, like, Jimmy Haslam swings big. I would not be surprised at all if it came in and it's like, hey, man, you getting 20 mil? I'll give you 30 mil. Do whatever you like. Have at it and go for it. Like, Haslam's a wild man. So it's kind of like the Sonny Weaver Jr. from draft day we hear coming in off the top, right? I'm crazy. Haven't I proven that already? I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but I got an article out on Sporting News that kind of outlines how that would look, and it's an interesting scenario.
Check out all of his work at the Sporting News. Andy McNamara at AndyMC81 on the X platform, at AndyMC Sports on Instagram, and Andy is the host of the Sick Podcast tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Yes, sir, where you will be joining me as well. We're going to be teeing up the Sunday games, reviewing what's happening Saturday, building the ultimate NFL betting ticket, the parlay party, and looking at these coaching search situations and, getting ready for things like the combine, the draft, and looking ahead. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great stuff. Always appreciate you jumping on, Andy. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, boys. See ya.
Josh Hennig along with Alex Berardis, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN, being brought to you by our friend Larry Goldberg of Boxing Insider Promotions. They have just started announcing the names who will be a part of the first action-packed fight card on Saturday, March 7th at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. I can confirm, as of today, undefeated, 16-0, Justin Figueroa, Mr. Atlantic City, the NABF Super Lightweight Champion, will be back in action in March. Also joining him is a confirmed fight between two New Jersey fighters, John Leonardo and Edgar Cortez, as well as South Jersey rising star in the women's boxing world, Leah Lewandowski, and undefeated heavyweight from Holy Spirit High School, Josh Popper, are all a part of the great boxing event you do not want to miss. This is the 7th time Boxing Insider Promotions will be inside Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. March 7th is where you want to be for the most action-packed fight card to start 2026. These are always great events. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com to reserve your spot in the building for another action-packed fight card with both local and international fighters in action. Again, March 7th, Boxing Insider Promotions brings back their next fight card, the Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. We got a very interesting text that came in from Jerry in Absecon that we will get to coming up on the other side. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Josh Hennig along with Alex Berardis. We're hanging with you on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen to the NFL Divisional Round.
The exciting action of the NFL postseason is on Westwood One. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join us this weekend for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The hour-long pregame show kicks off Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. From now until Super Bowl 60, the NFL playoffs are on Westwood One.
Listen to the NFL Divisional Round on 97.3 ESPN.
Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and foods. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
Any trade goes. Now at RK Kia of Vineland. Still owe thousands on your trade? It doesn't matter. RK Kia wants any trade, regardless of year, make, model, or condition. Drive home a new Kia for $199 a month. $199. Lease new 26 Kia K4 LXs from just $199 a month. $199 for 24 months. New front-wheel drive 26 Kia Sorento S, just $388 a month. $388. Plus, you get RK coverage. No charge. Ding repair, tire repair, wheel repair, windshield repair, and more. No charge. Any trade goes. RK Kia of Vineland. RK does it right. RK Kia of Vineland. MyRKKia.com. MyRKKia.com.
To qualified buyers, plus tax and title. For details, call 856-641-1111 or myrkkia.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent sin, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Oh. Hello, it's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. And let me tell you, I love numbers. 1040s, 1099s, W-2s, all of them. With TaxSlayer, anyone can file a federal return for just $22.99. You'll get 100% accuracy and your biggest possible refund guaranteed. Now those are great numbers. Need help along the way? We've got U.S.-based real human support. File by February 8th for just $22.99 and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Automotive Avenues, your family-owned, pre-owned dealership is growing and now has a second location in Sewell. Automotive Avenues brings the power of wholesale to the public. They make financing easy. Good credit, bad credit, no credit. You're still approved. Find out why Automotive Avenues has won customer satisfaction awards for the last 8 years. Discover why everybody loves Automotive Avenues of Sewell on Delsey Drive. Or check out their expanded inventory now at automotiveavenusnj.com.
Caesars Sportsbook app is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey from 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500. Award is non-withdrawable bonus bet expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
People will come, Ray.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
People will most definitely come.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
All right, wrapping up the 1 o'clock hour, second hour of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. I did want to wrap up with this interesting text from Jerry and Absecon at 609-403-0973 because I'm not sure what prompted this text from Jerry and Absecon, but I'm still going to read it anyway. But he says, Jalen Hurts cannot see open receivers. He needs to scramble to the sides. I don't think he can see over the line, Mrs. Jerry Absecon. Well, the problem with that, Jerry Absecon, is if Jalen Hurts can't see over the O-lineman, well, neither could Drew Brees, neither could Russell Wilson, and neither could a lot of guys. You know, there's a lot of quarterbacks who are not overtly tall, okay? So I'm not sure what Jalen potentially seeing or not seeing over the O-lineman has anything to do with his operational functionality as a quarterback. And I think that there's a very aggressive lie that's been put out there that, you know, a quarterback has to be a certain height in order to be successful. You know, I think most people would agree that, you know, being taller can help, just as a general principle. But football history is full of tall guys who were not successful quarterbacks. And so I don't think it's fair to just paint Jalen Hurts as, well, you know what? He's not tall enough. And it's like, well, Drew Brees figured out how to make it work. Now, you might say Drew Brees had that success because he had Sean Payton, right? So again, it goes back to the coaching thing. Does Jalen Hurts need better coaching in order to be successful? I think that's an interesting conversation to have coming up on the other side, along with Alex Berardis, Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, Flyers are losing 3-1. Kolosov got pulled from goal.
On 3 shots, he let up 3 goals.
I mean, talk about a crybaby, right? Kolosov was crying for playing time, and then he gets playing time, and he completely chokes.
Gotta be better. Just gotta be better.
All right, more Hanging with Hennig next on 97.3 ESPN.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, and my new intern, Erring Ewing, join me in the studio. We'll continue to commiserate about the Eagles' early exit. Scott Grayson from Fox 29 News will do his final recap on the Birds. Brought to you by Blitz's Market. Hour 2, Mr. Negadelphia PJ Korda checks in with his thoughts, brought to you by the Vassar Pool Service. And my final Fantasy Football Guru segment with Brian Hartley, brought to you by Charlie's Bar. It's the Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-923-6829 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-923-6829. That's 800-923-6829. What do you have to lose? Call 800-923-6829. Again, 800-923-6829.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Go to get your game on at the Fanatics Sportsbook in the gallery at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go where fans become fanatics at the Fanatics Sportsbook in the gallery. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hour 3 of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. It's already certainly been an interesting show here. We got more text to get to at 609-403-0973. Along with Alex Berardis, I am Josh Hennig. Yes, I'm still here. I'm still rocking with you guys on 97.3 ESPN FM, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. You know, this is one of those days where I'm so happy Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press is joining us coming up in about 20-some minutes from now, because there's so much like layers and conversation that goes into what is going around the NFL. And for those who didn't hear us in the last hour, you're just catching up. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported the Eagles have interviewed Mike Kafka today for their open offensive coordinator job. There's multiple reports. Diana Rossini for The Athletic was the first one I saw, saying the Eagles want to interview Mike McDaniel and Brian Daboll. Now, McDaniel is still doing the circuit on the head coaching interviews, so we'll see what happens there. But then we got the bizarre news that our next head coach hire might be Jeff Hafley with Miami, and that the Packers have already started looking for a defensive coordinator. So you got that layer to throw into the conversation. So there's a lot of moving and shaking, and Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press will kind of bring us some clarity coming up. And also, I'm glad Rob's joining us because of the A.J. Brown story that came out yesterday. You know, Rob was here during when Joel Salaquito also reported the Carson Wentz story, which was, I mean, now looking back, that was a 2018, 2019 at that point on the calendar. So you're talking about, 7 years ago, basically, is when that story dropped. So we'll get Rob's perspective on all of it coming up here on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, don't forget, the Mike Seafood Valentine's Day Run Walk for Autism is Saturday, February 14th on the Boardwalk in Seattle City. We will be broadcasting live that day here on 97.3 ESPN. Go to polarbearrunwalkforautism.com to register, because any day you could do something for children with disabilities. It is a good day. And Mike Seafood, they had a record turnout last year. We want to get another record turnout this year to support the Run Walk for Autism in Seattle City. Again, it's Valentine's Day weekend. That is Saturday, February 14th. Tell your significant other to come join you for the Run Walk for Autism. If you're worried about any Valentine's Day plans, although we all know, well, anyone with, a modicum of non-gullible intelligence knows that Valentine's Day is just an excuse to make money for Hallmark and other businesses. If you have a significant other, you should probably be taking care of them all year long, not just on Valentine's Day. But I digress. Let's get back to sports here on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, Sam Aarson somehow saved 3 shots on 3 attempts. He's 3 for 3 on saves, and Kolosov couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Well, Kolosov went 0 for 3 on
Right.
his save, so I guess that's something. Oh, look, at least the Phantoms are... Oh, no, they're down 3-1.
Yeah, the fans are down 3. They just
Okay.
scored.
They scored, and I was like, oh, look, at least we... And then I was like, oh, wait, no.
You got your hopes up there.
Yeah, and then I looked right at the scoreboard. Come on, Talk, get these guys going.
And listen, I can't blame Taka for all of this. He has a flawed roster. He has a roster that's not well-rounded, really, and you can't blame a guy when the roster is not constructed properly. It's like with the Eagles, where, I can't be mad if Fred Johnson is in the game instead of Lane Johnson and the quarterback holds the ball too long and he gets sacked, right? Like, if you don't have the personnel on the field, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, this team was overachieving again the whole first half of the season. Now, you lose Vladar, you lose Brink, you lost Drysdale there for a bit. In this game, we lost Obels, who had kind of had a freak scary injury along the boards with his leg. But they're not ready yet. And that was, everyone assumed that coming into the year. Now, look, was I enjoying the ride while we were playing great? Of course, yeah.
You'd be dumb if you weren't.
Yeah, exactly. But they're coming back down to earth, and now, unless they come back here, it's going to be a 6-game losing streak. And with how tight the Eastern Conference is right now, that can't happen, and you're just going to be the bottom of the list, and that's exactly where they're trending right now. And as long as Vladar is out too, they got no shot, because Kolosov obviously ain't the answer. Aarson looks somewhat decent today, but that's
also,
just
like,
one day.
that one goal was a 3-on-1. And you saw me here in the studio, Alex. I'm like, where is the defenseman getting back on defense? Like,
that goal and the first goal. The third goal, I mean, Kolosov.
The third goal was Kolosov's fault.
Kolosov, it was a 3-on-1, but goalie's got to make a save sometimes, and that was a very savable
But
puck.
they had 2 3-on-1s in that first period.
Yeah, the first two. The first one I won't blame on Kolosov. Second one and third one, you got to make a save there, pal.
But my point is that, like, this has been the problem with the Flyers for the last 20 years. They have good defensemen, not elite defensemen. And it's like you and I were talking about, they needed to Quinn Hughes. They need to get some real studs on that D-line, because you saw Sanheim with Team Canada last year during the Four Nations. When you pair Sanheim with a high-level defenseman, he plays great.
See, and now here's another problem. Michkov, I'm not saying you're done. I'm not saying you're a bust or anything like that, but he just took a horrible penalty, and that's been his MO all year. And then, so the national media has been getting on Rick Tocchet of all people. I mean, I guess someone has to catch the blame here for Michkov's lackluster sophomore season here. But I got to say, Michkov, you came into camp well out of shape, and you haven't gotten your wheels under you. It's an Olympic year. They're not practicing as much as they would in a normal year. So now you can't get the ability in those practices to get your win back. You can only really do it in a game. Now, he scored a goal in Pittsburgh in our last game. But other than that, in the whole month of December and January, his only other goal was an empty net goal. Like that cannot happen. He can be getting assist points. I don't care. You came to this team to change everything. you got to step up more. You got to be putting the puck in the back of the net more than you are right now. And I'm not saying he's a bust, but for people to be blaming Tocchet for this is absurd to me.
609-403-0973. Again, Flyers are down 3-1 to the Rangers. Rangers currently on a power play early in the second period. We'll keep you updated on the game as we go out throughout the hour. Text coming in from Joey D. from Ventnor, getting back to the Eagles here at 609-403-0973. He says, Josh, blame and shame is all on Sirianni. How he paid for a Super Bowl team in their prime with experience, being mostly healthy, and they were one of the healthiest teams going into the postseason. They have a lights-out defense, just no clue from an offensive play calling. If you had doubts enough to immediately fire Petullo, you should have gotten him help. This is all on Sirianni's hands, says Joey D. and Ventnor. Listen, I said it last week. You know, Alex was producing back here in the studio when I was at Slack Tie Brewing Company. That last week I said it. You know, Sirianni doomed this team the moment they allowed him to pick Kevin Petullo to be the offensive coordinator, because you put an individual in charge, and you can only hope that moving forward that this means that they are not going to have a in-house promotion ever again with a guy without experience like they've done recently. And I did think of the one comment Sirianni made about how the Eagles' focus is on, you know, getting a good offensive coordinator, and, you know, them basically saying, look, you know, this is our focus. This is what we're trying to do with the OC moving forward.
Our job right now and our thought process right now is to get the best candidate possible, cast a wide net there, and interview some of these great candidates that are out there, and find the best guy that fits the Philadelphia Eagles.
And listen, that sounds all great, but Sirianni went on to say that, you know, there are specific qualities he's looking for the offensive coordinator.
You know, I think also that, you know, you'll be able to get a lot of good candidates because the guys that have been here and when we've had a lot of success, you know, 3 of them have been head coaches, you know, off of our staff, which, you know, obviously I'm proud of. I'm sure Howie's proud of as well. Again, you want somebody that has great vision, great conviction on what they do, is able to coach fundamentals well to help the players get better, because I believe in that can connect with guys, because I believe in that, you know, that has the mental toughness, because I believe in that.
So basically everything that Kevin Petullo was not. They're basically looking for the anti-Kevin Petullo.
Which is smart, though. Like, that, yeah, I feel like that's pretty obvious in what they need to do here.
I just think it's funny. Like, as I listened to him the other day list all those things, Alex, it's like, not Kevin Petullo, not Kevin Petullo, not Kevin Petullo. Like, it's like the Eagles realized we just need someone who's not Kevin Petullo in here. We'll be fine. And I hate laughing about it, but Sirianni, Joey D. Inventor's right. This is on Sirianni. He's got to take the hit. And there's a reason why this team is basically interviewing anyone and everyone, from Zach Robinson to Mike Kafka to want to talk to Mike McDaniel. They want to interview all these guys because they feel like we got to talk to anyone we can get a hold of, because we need to find out who the right guy is. And I know that sometimes when you cast a wide net, it can look like you don't know what you're looking for. I think the Eagles are trying to find a guy that makes sense for this team.
Yeah, I feel like it would be irresponsible of them to interview 2 guys and be like, we think these are the only 2 guys capable of. No, you got to play the field a little bit here and see what is the best fit for this team going forward. It could be a guy like Kafka where, you know, no one really thought much of him coming into the interview. And then you talk to the guy for a while, hear what he has to say, look at what schemes he's looking to bring in, what he wants out of this. Maybe it's a fit. I don't know. I'm not saying it will be, but it'd be irresponsible of Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie to just say, no, we're not going to look at every possible outcome that we have here.
I also think that when it comes to the OC search, I think that, you know, going back to the conversation we had a little bit earlier in the show, Alex, you brought it up, you know, the Jalen Hurts factor in all this, the fact that you got to make sure that you're bringing in somebody who is going to be the guy to, lack of a better term, kind of press Jalen a little bit. Because when Jalen has been coached hard, he has had his most success. And there's a lot of speculation, and I don't want to say it's reporting, but there's been a lot of innuendo put out there that basically Jalen, people are afraid to criticize him in the building. And I think it's time to bring in a bad cop. I think it's time to bring in a guy who, like Shane Steichen was bad cop back in 2021, 2022. Lincoln Riley coached Jalen pretty hard at Oklahoma. Nick Saban, he ain't no softy right at Alabama. So, maybe you just need to make sure that whoever you're hiring is comfortable with maybe, hey, we're going to win games with you, but you got to be comfortable with Jalen maybe not always liking you.
It's a tough spot, too, because you're the new guy coming in. You're running the offense, which is, the quarterback. That's your thing. So for someone to be 4-1 Rangers, for someone to come in and be the bad guy, it's probably a tough thing to come into. You don't know if your voice is going to be heard throughout. You don't know if these guys are actually going to buy in. And then, like I brought up earlier, Philly media is so tough. One thing gets said and it just spirals into something that it's not. And then it's like, I don't know if you there might be some guys who say, hey, I don't want to come to Philly and deal with all that.
Maybe not. I think
I wouldn't want that guy for the job.
Right, you went with him anyway. I would just say that for me, I think the media thing is fine as long as you're not like Kevin Patullo and just vomiting all the time at press conferences or not saying anything. I'm not saying you got to be Kyle Shanahan and put all your cards on the table every single press conference. Like that guy, Kyle Shanahan's the other end of the spectrum. He don't care, and he basically tells you everything. He's a completely odd animal. But listen, I think that you need to bring in somebody who can be bad cop at this point. I think you need to bring in a coordinator who, how many times did we see the cameras look at Hurts and Patullo talking this year? And Hurts always looked like he was exasperated with Patullo. And it felt like Patullo, it was way too important for him to be everybody's friend. The whole thing was everybody in the building likes Patullo, everybody likes KP. And it's well, sometimes being liked doesn't mean you win games. How many times have we heard about coaches, guys man, that guy was hard on me, he drove me nuts, but man, we won a lot of games with that coach.
That's the difference. Everybody knew whatever Kevin Patullo was saying, just from a football state of mind, just didn't make sense. Or it just wasn't
it didn't add up.
Yeah, it didn't add up. It wasn't going to work. It never was going to work. And it never did work, as we saw against a beat-up San Francisco 49ers team.
By the way, the 49ers thing, can we repeat again that the Eagles got outcoached in that game? In almost every facet. And so, I don't care if, for example, Cliff Kingsbury is you got to get some new coaches in here. I'd be all right, who do we need to replace? To me, everyone is replaceable at this point. You can't just be one of these teams that's we love our guys. It's stop worrying about if you love everybody and just figure out what is best to win football games. Why can't we just be focused on what is best for winning? I don't. That's why I love what Adam Schefter said earlier this week on Get Up, where he expects there to be massive changes. And we've already seen the one with the OC be fired, but maybe part of those massive changes are also replacing other coaches on the offense as well.
We start with the assistant coaches on the offensive side of the football. I think when you speak to people around the league, they expect there to be mass changes there to jumpstart the offense. So you're looking at a new offensive coordinator next year. That's the expectation there across the league.
And, of course, he reported that, basically 12 hours before Patullo was officially fired. But the point is that, massive changes doesn't sound like just the OC, Alex. That sounds like it's more. They're going to maybe say, hey, the quarterback coach. Hey, wide receiver coach. Why do my receivers keep dropping balls? Aaron Moorhead.
Yeah, I feel like the only guy, even though we mentioned didn't have a great year, but Jeff Stoutland's probably the only guy in there that's safe, right?
Right.
Honestly, the Phillies might need to take a page out of the Eagles book here. Guys hitting coach for the Phillies, everybody, they just brought everybody back when no one deserved to be back. Eagles are saying, no, we didn't have a good year. We're not running it back. We're giving a change of scenery here. That's exactly what teams need to do when your team's not good enough to get over the hump.
609-403-0973 is the text board. Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis hanging out with you, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up next, we're going to get more into the NFL with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. We'll get his perspective on all of these coaching searches. Don't forget, Hanging with Hennig being brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering you Caesars rewards. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now and build the perfect same-game parlay this NFL weekend. Bet on games live or try their quick pick parlays that are pre-built just for you. Bet on gridiron action all weekend long and earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up at $250 whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey who are 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500 awarded as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll get Rob Maaddi's perspective on all of the coaching news as well as the Eagles on the other side. Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis, hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City, and streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Listen to the NFL Divisional Round.
The exciting action of the NFL postseason is on Westwood One. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join us this weekend for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The hour-long pregame show kicks off Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. From now until Super Bowl 60, the NFL playoffs are on Westwood One.
Listen to the NFL Divisional Round on 97.3 ESPN.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
My brother, who's older, is a tough guy. He always gets me something, and I have to appreciate it. Hey, man, I got you this. It's a knife. It's a buck knife, like 11-inch Bowie knife. I know you like knives. I go, I do? He goes, well, at dinner, you're always like, can I have a knife?
David Spade, I Got a Feel For It tour. Saturday, March 7th, Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort. Tickets are on sale now at theoceanac.com.
Save on appliances at the Home Depot with up to $1,000 off, plus up to an extra $500 off select appliances like Whirlpool that can keep up with your busy routine. The Home Depot has Whirlpool laundry appliances with Fan Fresh. This feature fans and tumbles your laundry after it's done to help keep your clothes fresh until you're ready to grab them. Shop now and get up to $1,000 off, plus free delivery on select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $999 or more. Offer valid January 8th through the 28th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
Any trade goes. Now at RK Kia of Vineland. Still owe thousands on your trade? It doesn't matter. RK Kia wants any trade, regardless of year, make, model, or condition. Drive home a new Kia for $199 a month. $199. Lease new 26 Kia K4 LXs from just $199 a month. $199 for 24 months. New front-wheel drive 26 Kia Sorento S, just $388 a month. $388. Plus, you get RK coverage. No charge. Ding repair, tire repair, wheel repair, windshield repair, and more. No charge. Any trade goes. RK Kia of Vineland. RK does it right. RK Kia of Vineland. MyRKKia.com. MyRKKia.com.
to qualified buyers, plus tax and title. For details, call 856-641-1111 or myRKKia.com.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-923-6829 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-923-6829. That's 800-923-6829. What do you have to lose? Call 800-923-6829. Again, 800-923-6829.
Caesars Sportsbook app is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey who are 21 or older. Minimum odds is minus 500. Awarded is non-withdrawable bonus bet expired 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN, being brought to you by my friends over at Prevail Nutrition, serving South Jersey for almost a decade. Prevail Nutrition, unlike the big-name brands out there, not tons of sodium, freshly made food. This is the best option you have in South Jersey. If you're tired of preparing your own meals, doing all the cooking yourself, having to waste time each week. Listen, we all have busy schedules. Let Prevail Nutrition make your life easier. They're right here in South Jersey, and they design meals every week to help make your life easier. You can order online for pickup and get free delivery on $50 or more orders at prevailnutrition.club. They deliver to Atlantic and Cumberland counties, plus Ocean City, or you can do pickup in Galloway. Be like me. Go to prevailnutrition.club to order your food each and every week. Because let's be realistic, we don't always have time to do all the cooking and the meal prepping. And sometimes, I mean, if we're being honest, I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, there's a lot of days that I actually forget to bring food with me. So it's always better to just leave the Prevail Nutrition here at the station for me in the fridge. PrevailNutrition.club is your option to eat better and eat healthier in 2026. Let's get back to the football now. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. He joins us right now on 97.3 ESPN. First of all, Rob, welcome in. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Getting ready for some playoff football. No time like divisional round. I love it.
Yeah, of course, people can hear all the games right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up after Mike Gill has his Power Hour from Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City from 3 to 4. Then we go to the football coverage coming up starting at 4 p.m. Also streaming on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Rob, I want to start with the Eagles with you because, you know, you were in Philadelphia covering this team through different moments of drama, and it feels like this week has gone from first they lose, then all Eagle fans are like, yay, they fired the coordinator, and now we have more A.J. Brown drama. And I know for you, Rob, there's probably a part of you that's kind of looking around being like deja vu because it's Joe Salaquito reporting about the A.J. Brown drama, the same guy reported about the Carson Wentz story, what was that, 7 years ago. So, for you, how much do you think what's going on with the Eagles is it legitimate drama, or is it just, hey, when teams lose, the dirty laundry comes out?
I think there's a lot of drama associated with Philadelphia sports just by the nature of the coverage, the nature of the pressure on the athletes from the fan base, and just the intense scrutiny. And that can lead to great theater and a lot of great drama too. And sometimes it's always, not sometimes, it's always amplified when the teams lose, when the teams don't do well. A.J. Brown never did himself any favors by the way he reacted to certain situations, by the cryptic posts that came out, and even his comments himself when he spoke eloquently, I think, about the problems that the offense was having, that they can't just put a Band-Aid on it. And it turns out he was right. So I think his reactions, the way he has carried himself, and has kind of led to in even more intense scrutiny, and people are always going to find different ways to report information. So I don't doubt that A.J. Brown wants out of Philly based upon the way he himself has acted. It surprises me when something is reported that's contrary to what the athlete has said, or what the athlete has portrayed, or what the athlete has privately told other reporters or people in that circle. So when some of the things came out previously, and I knew for a fact they weren't true, that's one thing. In this particular situation with AJ, it doesn't surprise me at all that he's unhappy with his situation and that he would like to be somewhere else. And obviously, there's a lot of salary cap ramifications, the dead cap hit. Now, we don't know what the salary cap is going to increase to, but dead cap hit is dead cap hit. So there's a lot that the Eagles have to figure out. And what Howie said about AJ is exactly what I would have expected him to say. He's a great player. We're in the market for great players. And that's Howie. That's how he handles these things. And doesn't mean behind the scenes he's not going to look to see something or make a deal that can help the team somehow. There could be a massive restructure with the contract to maybe alleviate some of that cap relief on the Eagles. But the Eagles aren't going to sit still. The Eagles aren't going to do and the Phillies made some moves, and they didn't get Bo Bichette, which was, really disappointing. But they're not going to run it back like the Phillies essentially are, and getting Adolis Garcia, right? And there's still a long way to go. And I know they revamped the bullpen, and it is what it is, but I wanted to see more there. But the Eagles certainly are not going to run it back. They're going to make some changes. They're going to try and improve the roster. And I believe Howie 100% when he says we're trying to win now and build for the future. That's what he does. That's what makes him one of the sport, not just football, but one of the elite front office guys in all of sports, no matter baseball, football, basketball, hockey, whatever you want to call it. So that's why he's one of the best, and he's earned that. He's earned that right. So I anticipate a lot of changes for the Eagles, and I think it would not shock me, would not surprise me at all if A.J. Brown's playing for a different team next year.
Well, also, I go back to 2021 when Howie said what he said about Carson Wentz, and then 2 months later they trade him. So, it's actually smart GMing to say, not put a for sale sign immediately out front, but to work behind the scenes and get the deal done. Because let's be realistic, Howie's a wizard when it comes to the salary cap, Rob. Like, if anyone can make this deal work financially, it's Howie. I'm not worried about the financial implications. Howie, this is his wheelhouse, when it comes to this stuff. What I'm worried about is this offensive coordinator search. How is that going to impact this? Because, the report is they interviewed Mike Kafka today. They interviewed Zach Robinson yesterday. They're interviewing Zach Robinson because Kyle Pitts is going to be a free agent. Are they trying to get information about different kinds of offenses to work with Jalen Hurts? Like, I feel like the OC, that's going to make or break this team, not necessarily A.J. Brown moving forward.
I think the OC is definitely going to be an important hire. And I will say I was wrong about Patullo. I thought they're coming off a Super Bowl victory. and they should promote from within, keep some continuity going. And I thought that was going to pan out, and it didn't. It didn't work out. And some guys are cut to be in certain roles, and they're better at it. Some that we see head coaches who are better off as defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators, and then likewise you can see offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators who are better off handling one aspect of positional duties. So I was wrong there, and you're right 100% that the Eagles have to hit on this offensive coordinator, right? And I think you're seeing. I thought there was a little bit regression, obviously, in Jalen's game. And how much do you attribute that to Kevin Patullo? A little bit of that has to be on Jalen. A little bit of that has to be on everybody on the offense has to take some of the criticism. I don't think you can put it solely on the OC, and I don't think you could solely put it on Jalen Hurts. But you need with 3 years left on his deal at $50+ million a year, you're going to need an offensive coordinator to come in here who can work with Jalen to the best of his strengths. And then maybe, we continue to hear, right? We continue to hear that there are certain things that Jalen isn't able or doesn't prefer, isn't willing to do, doesn't like to do, isn't comfortable doing. Maybe there's an offensive coordinator who can unlock some of that, because I don't know that you can have ultimate success, and they did already, and they won a Super Bowl, and he was Super Bowl MVP, but I don't know how long you can continue that, because teams, and certainly it didn't happen this year, teams are going to adapt and they're going to adjust their defensive schemes, and you have to do likewise. So if there are limitations on the quarterback, you perhaps need an offensive coordinator who can unlock some of that, who can help him feel more comfortable in some of those formations, some of those calls, some of that. I look at reading defense as just continual homework, right? Continual study, and you continue to hear about the struggles in that area. And you've got to have guys who are willing to put in that time. I heard a great story. I forget who it was. Was it Shady McCoy? Maybe recently was talking about playing with Tom Brady, and he said, we sit there in a team meeting, and the offensive coordinator is saying this, and the head coach is saying this, and then Tom calls a special meeting for the skill position players and says, "Nah, the defense isn't going to do what these guys, what our coach is saying." And he breaks it down and sends each guy like voice memos on each particular player on defense and their tendencies and what they're going to do. And Shady's he's probably all day long at home studying this. So you can learn to read exotic defenses, standard defenses, traditional, whatever it may be, better. And I think working with an offensive coordinator can help him in those regards.
Rob, in this offensive coordinator search, how much do you think they're going to try to help Jalen out here and give him an offensive coordinator with some longevity in Philadelphia? Because the whole thing has been 7 different offensive coordinators he's had. Do you think in this search, a big part of it's going to be a guy that they can keep here year after year, rather than he's going to come in, be great, and then get a head coaching job?
I would hope so. I would hope so. And to me, that would lead me closer to a guy who's been a head coach and lost his job, because it's hard to get a second head coaching job in the NFL unless you're like a defending, you won a Super Bowl. Doug Peterson got another job. He won a Super Bowl. Nobody's beating down a door now for Doug Peterson again after just one terrible year in Jacksonville. Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl, got another job in Dallas, had 3 12-win seasons, had no playoff success, and he's still trying to get another job. So a guy like Brian Dable, who's worked with Jalen, who's had familiarity with him, who's been a head coach, but I don't know that he'd be the hot candidate on the next coaching cycle, intrigues me more than someone who is a rising star candidate who could be a one-and-doner. So I wonder, that's a great question, and I wonder how much of consideration that the Eagles will give that, because they continue to turn over the OC, and Jalen's got to continue to work with a different guy year after year, and their success is obviously going to be you start losing guys the more successful you are. That's just the NFL. It's standard. It happens. But if you've got a guy in place who failed as a head coach and is comfortable in a coordinator position and maybe doesn't want to uproot his family, I love having Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator. I don't, as much as Vic probably deserves some interviews. He's not getting those interviews to be a head coach right now. And I think based on where he is in life and his relationship with the city and everything that goes into it, he's happy and comfortable there. That type on offense, I think, would be great.
Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joining us here on 97.3 ESPN, at Rob Maaddi on the X platform, at The Real Rob Maaddi on Instagram. Rob, you just mentioned something about, the type of coordinator you bring in. And obviously the guy who makes the most sense of what you just described at the end there would be a guy like Frank Reich, a guy who's probably not looking for a head coaching job. But Frank Reich has not been mentioned in any reporting anywhere. All the names we're hearing are, we heard Mike Kafka was interviewed today, Zach Robinson, Mike McDaniel, Brian Dable. We're not hearing the old grizzled veteran. So it seems like the Eagles they're more interested in getting the best guy than they are interested in getting a certain type of guy, which seems to me like that's the way to go anyway, right? It's like, hey, let's not worry about if the guy leaves in here, which is how Roseman said that at the press conference the other day. He said, we're not worrying about that. So for you, is there a name that you've heard or seen so far that you're saying that's a guy that makes a lot of sense?
And I think in Frank Reich's situation, he's at the point in his stage in his life where he'd rather spend time with his family and the grandkids than the grind of it being an OC again. So I think that's why you're not hearing his name. Last I heard, he wasn't really looking to get back into. I know he did the thing at Stanford this year as a favor. To Andrew Luck, but I really don't think that he wants to do it. Like, my guy is Brian Dable. I like his fiery attitude. I love what he was able to do with Josh Allen. He had success with Daniel Jones his first year with him. People forget that the Giants that year went to the playoffs with Daniel Jones and won on the road against Minnesota, a good team with Kirk Cousins that year. So he did have some success early on as a head coach, and just the familiarity with Jalen Hurts. Now, from a selfish standpoint of, I think it would be fun, Mike McDaniel and his quirkiness in Philly would be like must-watch news conferences every week. That the coordinators in Philly do Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, like, you got to be locked in, because I would love to see the Philly media deal with a guy like Mike McDaniel to break down his every word, because he just goes on these like stream of consciousness, right? And he's just a different kind of dude. I think it would be so entertaining, just for entertainment value. And you know what? The guy knows how to run an offense and get a run game with a lot of his schemes and his looks and how to make that work. So it wouldn't be terrible from a football standpoint at all. I think that the run game could use somebody with Mike McDaniel's expertise. But, man, that would make for some entertaining news conferences.
One of the comments I made before you came on, Rob, was that I think part of the problem is that, people have criticized Jalen Hurts this year. They've criticized the offenses. The issues are Jalen Hurts' fault, right? And I want to play for you an audio from Nick Foles' season podcast, where Nick Foles is kind of on the same stream of consciousness I am, that a lot of this stuff should come down to coaching, and that if you want the quarterback to do certain things, as you mentioned earlier, you got to bring in a coach who can do that. I want to get your reaction, because you cover Nick Foles here in Philadelphia. Here's what Nick Foles said on his podcast, how he doesn't like the idea that people are saying Jalen Hurts can't do certain things.
I think there's some times where they're like, hey, we don't think he can do this. But then I would argue, you're a coach. Like, Jalen has shown the success he's had from high school to college, at both colleges he was at, Alabama and Oklahoma, to coming into the NFL as a second-round pick behind Carson Wentz, to now leading your team to 5 straight postseasons, 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl victory, Super Bowl MVP. Man, this guy wants to learn, and you never have all the answers. Even when I finished my career, I was always learning. You're always learning. But you need a great coach to teach you the ins and outs of the plays and the progressions.
I know it's not a popular take with certain people in Philly sports talk radio, but I think what Nick Foles said is very kind of on line with what guys like Brady have said, Rob, which is it's on the coach to put the quarterback in a position to have the success, not on the quarterback to just figure it out all the time.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with what Nick Foles is saying. I deal with that on a very minor level as a coach. And sometimes I get frustrated because a girl can't do certain things in flag football. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to put somebody else in who can. And then I feel like, well, I should teach them how to do it the right way. So you don't just dismiss it as you can't do it. Right. So if Jalen Hurts can, and that's why the offensive coordinator position and hire is going to be so important, because maybe you get somebody in here who can unlock. So we know he's got immense potential. We know he's played at the highest level. He's been a Super Bowl MVP. He's been a MVP runner-up. He's been an Offensive Player of the Year finalist. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes in another Super Bowl and lost. He's got it. He's got all the tools. And if there are certain things that he just doesn't excel, and not every quarterback is going to excel at every area of the game. So you've got to work on those areas that you need him to get better at. And how does that happen? I mean, this is your job. These are your professions. That's what you're hired to do as an offensive coordinator, is teach the guy. You know, it's not like you get an hour a week with him in practice like I do. You get every day out there on the field with him. And you've got to be able to and then beyond the field, you've got the classroom, the film study, and everything else. You've got to figure out a way to help him develop and become better in those areas. And I don't buy that somebody can't do anything unless he's got physical talent limitations, which we know he doesn't. So then you got to figure it out. And this is a crucial hire for the Eagles, because it's got so much to do with what Jalen looks like going forward. And I know people are floating out the idea of them potentially drafting a quarterback this year. Is there anybody who's going to be available when the Eagles pick that could be anything that remotely threatens Jalen? I don't believe that right now. Of course,
this is a very, very underwhelming draft class.
We said that, though, in 2020, right, when, Jalen Hurts is drafted in the second round. But Jalen was far more accomplished as a second-round pick than what these guys are right now.
Yeah.
And people were saying Tanner McKee, give me Tanner. And then look what happened when he stepped in.
Everybody loves the backup quarterback till he actually plays.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rob, real quick before we let you go, what is a coach opening you're still watching very closely and intrigued by outside of Philadelphia?
I think Atlanta's very interesting because they've got a lot of talent there. And I think some people oversell that talent, because despite all that talent, they still do have a lot of holes, like quarterback. You don't know if what they're going to do with Kirk Cousins. Penix is coming back off the ACL. You said Pitts is a free agent, but you got Bijan Robinson, who I think is an all-world player. You've got young rookies on defense who stepped up this year, who are developing. So I think there's talent there in a division that's ultimately winnable. Whoever steps into that Falcon situation could be another one of those first-year coaches who leads his team to a division title. And then, of course, the Raiders intrigues me because it's the Raiders, because there's Tom Brady's footprint on it right now. In which direction do they go? Is it somebody who's got familiarity with Tom and John Spytek, and somebody who they've, whether it was in New England or some Michigan or somewhere else, that they've had relationships with? And the Raiders are such a storied franchise that have sucked for so long that I think it's important to, they got it for football. It's good for the Raiders to be good. Same as the Giants. And I think the Giants and the John Harbaugh hire is a home run. Unfortunately, Tomlin's not going to be coaching somewhere this year, but whenever he decides to come back, if he decides to come back, that's going to be certainly one that people are going to keep an eye out on too.
Tomlin's going to be amazing on television, by the way. I just want to put it out there. Like, he is going to be like the next TV star.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that, and I wonder how that's going to play out. I could tell you, and I would anticipate in an analyst role, like in studio analyst, right, not in a game analyst. But certainly, I'm not looking forward to hearing a former Cowboys quarterback this week after his performance last week. And I'm not talking about Troy Aikman.
No, definitely not Aikman. He's safe from all. He
does his homework. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's Rob Maaddi at Rob Maaddi on the X platform. The Real Rob Maaddi on Instagram. all of his coverage at apnews.org. And, of course, don't forget about Faith on the Field, heard Saturday and Sunday mornings on 97.3 ESPN. If you miss any episodes, just search Faith on the Field on your favorite podcasting platform. Rob, always appreciate you jumping on and making the time for us.
Thank you, guys. Keep rocking.
Appreciate Rob Maaddi joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Being brought to you by my friends over at Boxing Insider Promotions. They return the Tropicana Atlantic City March 7th for the first action-packed fight card of 2026, featuring the return of undefeated 16-0 Justin Figueroa, the NABF Super Welterweight Champion in action, as well as an all-New Jersey showdown between John Leonardo and Edgar Cortez, as well as rising star in the women's boxing ranks, Leah Lewandowski, and Holy Spirit High School graduate, undefeated heavyweight Josh Popper, all some of the great fighters who will be in action on Friday, March 7th, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. You do not want to miss out on the action-packed fight card, the first one of 2026, Saturday, March 7th, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Boxing Insider Promotions has got you covered. We'll wrap up the show coming up next, as well as give our picks for the NFL weekend. Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis, hanging out with you on Hanging with Hennig. 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank in Seattle City, and streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. Just follow at Josh Hennig. Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company.
50 do it signing for 24 months. That's right. Choose between $10,000 cash back, 0% APR financing, or a lease for just $129 a month. And if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today. Visit mattblackkia.com or call 215-703-8526 for details. It's got to be a Matt Black Kia.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Ocean's 18 Mini Golf and Bar is now open at Ocean Casino Resort. This isn't your ordinary mini golf. It's a multi-million-dollar entertainment destination with state-of-the-art technology and an atmosphere that's fun for all ages. Enjoy 2 incredible 9-hole courses, 2 eye-popping holograms, and a vibrant main bar, all in an 8,000 square foot space located on the casino level next to La Scala's Fire. To learn more, visit theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Who is right? You are an ox and a moron.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hello? Get back in the room.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Our pick segment is being brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering you Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action this weekend and earn perks on every game like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app now and use my promo code RADIO250BM and get your first bet match as a bonus bet up to $250. Whether you win or lose, open new users in New Jersey who are 21 or older, minimum odds minus 500. Awarded as a non-withdrawable bet. Bonus bet expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet about not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Alex. So let's rattle through these games so we can wrap up here. By the way, the Flyers are losing now 6-2 because Sanheim got lucky. So
got a shorthanded goal.
He got lucky.
All right.
Coming up today on 97.3 ESPN, by the way, Mike Gill and Nick Earnshaw are broadcasting live from Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City from 3 to 4 p.m., a power hour with Mike Gill and Nick. And then the NFL coverage begins at 4 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, all the games are streaming live on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Alex, first game we got Bills versus Denver. My big pick for this game is I think the under is going to hit in this game. I think it's going to be a bit of a rock fight. But I think ultimately, I feel like I got to lean with the home team because I feel like Denver might be more prepared for this game.
I'm leaning with the away. I would be on the home team, but I'm just going my guy. It's got to be his year, Josh Allen. This is the way to do it.
I mean, I want the Bills to win the Super Bowl. That's my personal preference at this point, but I hope you're right. I just hope you're right. Nightcap, I think the 49ers cover the 7.5 points, but I think Seattle wins the home game.
Right on board, right with you.
I got the Patriots winning at home against Texas, but I got the under 40.5.
All right, me too as well. The entire NFL Live crew all picked Houston to win this game.
Ooh.
I thought that was very interesting.
That was bizarre.
Yeah.
And then finally, tomorrow evening, another under. I got under the 48.5 between the Rams and Bears. I think this is going to be an ugly game in the weather, but I think the Rams pull it out.
Really? I think the Bears, I'll take them to cover because it's a plus 4.5 at home, but I think the Bears are going to come out on top in this one.
Alex will be back in tomorrow with Billy Schwab in the locker room, 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig, signing off for Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up next, Mike Gill, Nick Earnshaw, Power Hour live from Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein.
Yep. All right, 3, 2, 1.